This is the Jason Gregor Show.
I got 10 guys on the field. They're down at 7. This one is launched from McCarthy. He's got it. Touchdown.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Once on the move, launching down the middle, intercepted. Over for the man in Connor Halley. A huge roar as one of the most popular, inspiring Bills comes up with the takeaway.
Force 1440.
And the Oilers Nation YouTube channel.
And now McDavid in over the line. McDavid cross-ice pass. Score!
Well, a terrific Tuesday afternoon. How are you? Welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. Coming to you live at Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook, as well as on X and Instagram. Of course, some of you who are out of town, you love listening on the app. We love it at Stingray or Radio Player app, even iHeart. So check it out. Enjoy the show as we have lots to discuss because, man, it is a great time if you're a sports fan. There is no shortage of topics, and some of them just land on you, right in your lap and give you lots to discuss. So we'll have the first hour is going to be a lot of football chatter. I'll tell you, we'll do a lot of hockey in hour number 2 and 3. Get back to some football again, but of course, NFL. Talk a little bit about the NFL. Trevor Lawrence, guy, at some point, you might want him to play a little bit more consistent. Like he's had a few years. It's not like he's an Elks young quarterback who gets one game where he loses against the best D in the league, and that loses your job. But hell, if you're a veteran and you go 0-7, don't worry. We'll just keep running you out there. No problem. Okay, we'll get into that later. But what about the Bengals? Did you see Jaden Daniels? Did you see his long bomb throw to Terry McLaurin? His first one and then his second one. His first throw, if you look at where he planted his foot, was at the 33-yard line. Travels in the air 58 yards. McLaurin catches it right on a dead run. I don't know if you can throw a better ball. That was unreal. What a performance for a guy in his third game of his career. And if you're a Washington fan, you're thinking maybe, finally, we have a quarterback. I think they've used 12 different quarterbacks in the last 5 years. 12 in 5 years. That's what losing organizations do. You just keep searching and searching and searching and searching. I'm thinking Daniels is going to get a little bit longer of a rope. We'll see. It was a hell of a game. Exciting. A little bit more exciting than the Oilers preseason games. And I know some Oilers fans are really fired up about it. You're concerned. I will say this. It's preseason. And when things go well, as we talked about yesterday on the show, when guys are scoring and they're playing well, I always temper it. Always try to temper it, okay? Because it's preseason, and we have seen we can go through Tyrad, you can go through Brendan Perlini, that can go through Jesse Puljujarvi when he had a good preseason, 3 goals, and then got to the regular season, a whole lot of nothing, right? Xavier Bourgault scored 3 preseason goals. He could barely score in the American League. It's preseason hockey. It's the first hockey game for some guys in months. It can be sloppy. There's just a lot of things off, and I don't take much, especially from the early preseason games, good or bad. If team gets spanked, meh. Team wins by 6, meh. There are a few things you noticed. McDavid, still McDavid. Fly all over the ice. Great. Draisaitl. He played with Lavoie and Podkolzin. Look at how many good scoring chances both those guys had last night. They didn't finish any of them. But we said yesterday in the show, you know what? When you get to play with Leon Draisaitl, you're going to get a chance. Podkolzin on his first shift. Right, wide open in front of the net, unable to bury it. That happens. It's not like guys score on every chance they get, but that's what Draisaitl does. And Jeff Skinner, Arvidsson, especially Jeff Skinner, is a proven finisher at 5-on-5. It's hard to finish. Guys can get in position, that's great, but then you got to finish. That's the next level. And it's only one game. I give Cooley credit, played pretty well. I saw his post. It was, hey, I just want to show people it didn't suck, because last year his 6 games in San Jose weren't great. Now the Sharks were beyond brutal as an NHL team, especially defensively last year. So it didn't help. But it's not like the Flames were a juggernaut defensively last night in Edmonton. The Oilers had almost 50 shots, a lot of quality chances, and Cooley played great. Good for him. But overall, you know what? I liked? Sean Brown was in the press box and we were chatting, and you're watching Clattenburg. He was doing exactly what somebody in the organization asked. Now, he's not an NHL guy. He's going to go back to junior, as he should. He went back today. He'll go back to junior, and you hope he has a great season. But he is a natural player who plays with a little bite. And so if he can continue to develop as a player, maybe he can become that guy, right? He was a late round pick. And it's one where, there's going to be multiple years of development, puck skills, skating, all those things. But the one thing he has that comes naturally to him, he's a little bit of an agitator. He can play physical. And this organization, they're going to need it. Last night, the Oilers put out a release. Evander Kane, minimum 5 to 6 months. So that release came out on September 23rd, October 23rd, November 23rd, December 23rd, January 23rd, February 23rd. That's 5 months. March 23rd, that's 6. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. So when you look at the Kane situation, he might be out all season. He might be. And I know people are like, oh, yeah, this is great. He'll come back in the playoffs and it'll be awesome. Will it? Which player went 9.5 months between games? Not Kucherov. Definitely not Stone. Right? Mark Stone got hurt the 1 year. He came back before the playoffs and they missed. Now, the year they won the Cup, he was out February 20th. Then it was January 20th. Last year. Came back both times, but he's out 3 months. Like 3 months after having played 40 games or 34. Last year was 2 years ago was 43. It's a bit different than Kane's last game was June 10th. So really, it's going to be, if he comes back for the playoffs, we're talking, actually, my math's wrong. It's 10 months, right? Without any games. There's rust, there's everything else. Now, there is the very rarely used, but if Kane being on LTIR all year long, you get into April, they can send him down while he's still on LTIR, not on the roster, and he can play up to 3 games in the American League. Now, you can even apply to extend that to 2 weeks. Now, I don't know the rules and how they grant it or not, but it's something to consider, sure. So, in theory, it could work. But I think right now the Oilers, A, aren't putting Kane on LTIR. B, they're like, you need to have the money, and there's nobody in their organization where you look and say, oh, big ticket, we can add that guy right now. So it's not the benefit right now today that many think it is. It might be closer to the Terry deadline. That's totally fair. But it doesn't guarantee that Evander Kane's going to come back and be somebody who can be a difference maker. Because I'll say this about Evander Kane. The Oilers are going to miss him in the regular season. Here's a fun little nugget for you. So Evander Kane led the Edmonton Oilers with 230 hits at 5-on-5. I know there's some people who think hits don't matter in hockey. I think they're a little bit narrow-minded on their viewpoint. So Kane had 230 hits. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Zach Hyman, Victor Arvidsson, Jeff Skinner, Matthias Janmark, Connor Brown. Those 6 who are right now look to be the top 9 wingers on the Oilers. Those 6 combined for 224 hits last year. So Kane had more hits than all 6 of them. He has a physical element that's going to be hard to replace. He also has a very confident on ice arrogance. He will bark back at the opposition if they want to bark. He'll bite back at the opposition. The Oilers don't really have that. And I'm not saying Kane means, they're going to get derailed. No, I still think they're a really good team. I'm just saying it's an element that is missing. And good, successful championship teams have lots of different elements. They've got a lot of skill. They got a lot of smarts. They got speed. They got toughness. They got aggressiveness. You just look at the teams like Matthew Tkachuk, Sam Reinhart, skilled guys. They got bite in their game. Right? Colorado had guys like that. Vegas has guys like that. Washington had guys like that when they won. Go down the list, right? Like when the Oilers were the great Oilers, they had great skill, but then Mark Messier would run around and he had elbow you in the head, right? They had fighters. Like you need different elements. And right now with Kane out of the lineup, Kane's gone, Desharnais's gone, Fogel's gone, Cody Cece's gone. 5 of their top 8 hitters are gone. Now, Emberson and Brown should be able to fill the physical void and maybe the skill void of Desharnais and Cece. So like I'm saying, I don't think it's a complete lost thing, but I think some people are overlooking the importance of the element that Kane brings. He's skilled. He had 24 goals last year while he was banged up. 4th most goals on the team. Tied for 4th most goals 5-on-5. He played the 4th most minutes of any forward 5-on-5. And I know, and he was banged up. And I know there's, he's terrible. I think you're overlooking some of the elements he brings. He'll be missed. So the best option to replace some of that grit is going to be Podkolzin. Podkolzin had 71 hits in 19 games for Vancouver last year. That's a lot. Like he's not afraid to run around. Now, I'm not saying he's going to replace Kane's goal scoring production. And I don't think he's going to replace his minutes 5-on-5. He can replace some of Kane. He won't replace all of Kane. So it's a step. But it is something that I think if you're Stan Bowman now, you would be looking to add. It's another element that your team doesn't have when he's out of the lineup. And I think it's an important one. You need a few different mixtures to win. So we'll touch on that a little bit later on. Also, we will talk about the announcement that Bethel Thompson is going to start for the green and gold. And I know a lot of people are like, wow, hey, he gives them the better chance to win. Okay, I know that's a saying, but what is that based on? Because it's not based on results. He's started 11 games this year. They're 3-8. Trey Ford started 3 games. They're 2-1. And even Bethel Thompson, if you go back and look at the 4 starts previous to Winnipeg's game, where Ford started against the best defense in the league, against the team that's been to 4 consecutive Grey Cups, I think the Bombers are in a little bit of a different class than Hamilton and Saskatchewan and Calgary. But even if you want to look at those 3 games, look at the 3 games against Hamilton, Saskatchewan, and Calgary. Bethel Thompson completed 62% of his passes. He averaged 216 passing yards per game in those games. Are those great numbers? No, he managed the game, sure. Not like, oh my God, really hard to replace. He had the good game against Calgary, but keep in mind that even that game's the one play. Remember when 87, Gino Lewis fumbled the pass and then it was picked up, but it's all considered passing yards. I still don't understand how, but whatever. Guy picks it up off the ground and it's a passing yardage. Because Connor, they gave, I think, 100 yards, 106-yard reception on that play, when really it was about 20 yards to Gino Lewis. Good pass, no problem. But the rest had nothing to do with the quarterback. He gets a benefit for him. Good for him. But when I look at the overall games of Bethel Thompson, and it's not even just recent, man, because the Edmonton Elks, if they're going to make the playoffs, they got to win all 4 of their games here down the stretch. Pretty hard to do. They've won 13 of their last 50 games. They probably got to go 4-0 to make the playoffs. Now, would they like to make the playoffs? Great. I understand it. Be nice. But how realistic is it that they will compete in the playoffs? Guess we'll find out. But here's the thing to me. You can look at the right here, right now, and if you want to say that Bethel Thompson, the data that says he's clearly better, because I don't see it. Now, if you want to say, well, because here's the thing. Trey Ford completes a higher percentage of passes, and he also has more yards per completion than Bethel Thompson. So what is it that Bethel Thompson does better? That's all I want to know. We're going to ask our first guest, Eddie Steele. He's in favor of this move. I want to know why. What is it that Bethel Thompson actually does better? I think it's a fair question. I want to know the answer. Because, hey, I'll look up any stat. I watch the games. What does he add? When did they start winning? When they put Ford in. And with Ford in, they reduced the throws and they won more. They started running the ball. What took so damn long? That'd be my first question. So the same people that had the wherewithal to say we're going to be a one-dimensional offense forever, and then when we switch quarterbacks, wow, geez, we don't really want to do this, but we'll do it, and now we'll try to run the ball. No, we have some success. And now a guy who wins games. It doesn't matter when. The last 2 seasons, when Trey Ford starts, the Elks are 6-7. When he doesn't start, they're 3-16. But he has a tough game against the best defense. I don't deny that he had a tough game. He's a young quarterback. Tough games happen. And he gets yanked right away. Other guys just continue to get plays. Why is that? What message are you sending? So I need to know. What is there something behind the scenes? Is Trey Ford just, I just find it a tad perplexing, to say the least. So we'll get to all that. Konza, where do you come out on this decision?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if I'm just trying to get inside the mind of the coordinator and the offensive staff here with what they want to do with their offense, maybe they're saying, those games at the start of the year, that was a different team. We're going to base ourselves on what we've done since, I don't know, let's say 2 months. When we learned how to run the football, when we started to establish the running the game, and if we can run the football with both those quarterbacks in the backfield that we like, what McLeod Bethel Thompson offers us as a passer, a decision maker going through his reads and making the right decisions, and we believe he can deliver the ball better than Trey Ford can. I said yesterday, I said it on today on Fantasy Frenzy, I would have stuck with Trey Ford. That's who I would have kept the ball in his hands. Give him a chance to learn from what he went through last week and see if he is that guy that bounces back. Says, okay, this is what I did wrong, but this is what I can take advantage of Winnipeg, seeing them in consecutive weeks. McLeod Bethel Thompson, they must believe that he's a better decision maker. They must believe that he can sit in the pocket and make better throws and be more of a protector of the football, although we've seen that in this season. In the first half, that wasn't always the case. I'm a little perplexed by it. We'll wait and see how it plays out, but I will be on your side with this one where I personally would stay with Trey Ford.
2:18. We got a loaded show for you. Of course, Eddie Steele will be by. Terry Ryan in studio for the full 2 hours. Dave McCarthy talking hockey. Kelly Buchberger, former Oiler, head coach of the Devon Extreme in the AJHL, will join us. Strudwick will be by. Spec, DVD. Oilers did skate today, and they've kind of separated. They had a mainly NHL group skating at noon, and mainly guys who probably aren't going to be here much longer skating at the earlier skate. So. And kind of go through the names. No real surprises for you. I guess unless you think Mike Hoffman had a real chance, but Hoffman was in that earlier group and is still kind of a guy who I think is a long shot to get a contract with the Edmonton Oilers. We'll take a quick break. It's the Gregor Show on Sports 1440. You can always text us 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440 in our eWell inbox.
Edmonton's premium live music and party venue is
On the Rocks.
Check out Bingo Tunes on Monday. Perform on the best stage in town with karaoke on Wednesdays. Learn how to salsa with Salsa Rocks on Thursdays. And every weekend, OTR goes live.
With your favorite bands on the OTR stage and DJ Kenny K.
For everything that's going on at On the Rocks, give us a follow.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
At On the Rocks, EDM.
Eat well, party hard.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Open every day till 2 a.m.
My utility bills are going through the roof. How can I take advantage of the sun and put my lazy roof to work?
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Energy team reporting. When you're ready to make your home or business more efficient, Action Electrical has the power to install solar panel systems and EV chargers.
Facing an electrical menace? Call on the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta with supercharged skills and strong family values. ActionElectrical.net.
So you've decided you want to start hiking. Nobody would say, I'll just wear my kids' flip-flops until I have more experience. The first thing you do is buy the right shoe size and style to fit you. Same with golf. You can't just buy clubs off the rack. They won't be the right size or style for you. Only Fitted Golf works with you to identify your swing style and then matches your clubs exactly to that swing. Check out our Instagram and YouTube channel to see the success others have with clubs fit to their swing. Fitted Golf, where we continue to prove it's your clubs.
Carve out for a cause at the 6th annual Jason Gregor Pizza Takeout presented by Swift. Thursday, October 24th at the Canadian Ice House. Indulge in unlimited pizza while raising some dough for Kids Sport. Vote for your favorite slice to crown the People's Choice Awards winners. Don't miss Edmonton's biggest pizza party with Gregor broadcasting live. Tickets are $60 or $200 for a group of 4. Adults only. Buy your tickets today. For more details, see jasongregorpizzapigout.com.
A premier hockey solution with a clear path for long-term development is proud to be entering its 8th season of independent borderless hockey, featuring provincial and cross-province competition with showcase-style regular season gameplay and a strong commitment to individual skill development. It's an attractive option for those seeking family life balance. The Hockey Super League offers opportunities for both male and female athletes born between 2012 and 2017. Visit hockeysuperleague.com for more information.
When it comes to your health, trust Dr. Bryce Henderson for expert care in hip and knee replacements. With years of experience and advanced techniques, Dr. Henderson helps you regain your mobility and quality of life.
Your health is my priority. Let's get you back to doing what you love.
Put your health in the hands of a trusted expert. Book your consultation with Dr. Henderson today. Visit vitalsurgicalspecialist.ca or call 587-391-7864.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients. Better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients. Better pizza. Papa John's. That's
.223. Jason Gregor. Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440. Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook. As always, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game the final week of MLB before the playoffs. And there's some great playoff races going on right now. Also, it's Tuesday. It's Lotto Max. The Dave Semenko draw, $27 million tonight. Get your tickets at PlayAlberta.ca. As we're going to talk a little football now with the co-host Monday Fridays on the Kevin Carey Show, former CFLer, Grey Cup champion, Eddie Steele, joins us. So, Eddie, very simple question, man. Why do you feel Bethel Thompson gives you a better chance to win than Ford?
My why would be this: stability, Jason. Consistency, and you need someone back there at the quarterback position to essentially be a point guard. And McLeod Bethel Thompson is a better distributor of the football at this point in time. You look at this Winnipeg game, there was zero production on offense, and you had Winnipeg dead to rights, man. It was 3-0 at half, and if Edmonton could have even created 7 points, a touchdown, or a couple of field goals, the defense would have played even harder, and it would have been that much more challenging for Winnipeg to be in that game. 3-0 going into half, 10-10 going into the fourth quarter with essentially zero production at the quarterback position. You got to be better than that, man. That game should have been Edmonton's game to win. Of course, it gets away from them at the end, but without quarterback play, Edmonton hung in that game. You need more from the position.
So a young quarterback has one game where he struggles, and he's 10 for 17. Right? And 2 of the picks, one we all agree isn't his fault. He threw it right in the receiver's hand, goes off his hands, deflected it to the quarterback. To the DB. I don't blame the quarterback for that. So you have a young quarterback, and boom, you yank him. And you go to a veteran who's 36, and when he starts, the team is 3-8. So Ford completes more passes all season long at a higher percentage rate, 71-67. Ford's completion yards per completion is 2 yards more than Bethel Thompson. So when you say that you get more production, have you though? Where is this more production coming? It's coming against Saskatchewan.
I didn't say production. I said you get stability. You shouldn't be hoping and holding your breath for first down. Your best passing play shouldn't come on a flea flicker, and that's your best offensive passing play. Yes, that's a trick play, but that's literally the best they had as a passing play. And that's been the case not just this year, but last year with Trey Ford. You're hoping for completions where with McLeod Bethel Thompson, you got a guy who's going to go, 15 yards over the middle, 20-yard post, all hit a deep ball, all go back to a 10-yard slant. You get that way more consistently than Trey Ford. And you talk about the stats with Trey. The games that in the records, what they were, McLeod Bethel has 3 wins on the year, whatever that was. They lost 4 games this year early by a field goal. Trey Ford has just played his 5th game this year, Jason. He has played in 4 games and just played his 5th. He has 600 yards passing, 6 touchdowns, 3 picks, 92 rushing yards. Let's look at Jarius Jackson's offense. Trey Ford, again, just played in his 5th game only. Right now, the Elks have the best offense with points for at 28. The next best offense is 25. They have the second most total yards behind Hamilton. They have the most first downs. They have the most rushing yards. So they have a great offense with or without Trey. Trey's only played in 5 games.
Well, let's be real. He's played in 3 games, man. You can't count the game when he took 1 series in Ottawa. And remember,
I just looked up his numbers and the consistent games where he was passing. He just played his 5th.
Yeah.
And
well, yeah, but
there's a little to be desired at the position.
Really played
man.
3. Like he's started 3 games. I don't include the game in Ottawa where he came in for 1 series. Right? That I don't include that game at all.
So Trey will give you these Michael Jordan plays, the superstar plays, throwing it across his body, stuff that McLeod Bethel Thompson can't do. But I don't need those one-off plays, man. I need my quarterback to be back there slinging it around as a point guard. And McLeod Bethel Thompson has done that his career and has proven to be better at doing that so far in this season.
But so why is he averaging fewer yards per catch then? You say he doesn't throw downfield.
It's not a matter of yards per catch. It's a matter of distributing the football. And he is a better distributor of the football.
What does that mean? Distributing it where, though?
Getting the ball to your playmakers. It's not all about who's getting more yards passing. It's about who is able to distribute the football, who's able to keep the offense on the field. I'm telling you this as a defensive player who played a decade in the CFL. I would be licking my chops having to play Trey Ford because he's going to beat me with the run here or there, but he's not going to beat me with his arm. I'm scared of a quarterback who's going to beat me with his arm in the CFL. And then when I'm on the sideline of that team, say he's my quarterback, the worst thing you can hear, Jason, when you're on the sideline and you just came off the field as a defensive player is punt alert because you're going 2-0 or you're not holding the ball consistently for drives. They were able to do that with a good run game, but you got to compliment the run game, man. With the game that they just had against Winnipeg, in the way that their O-line dominated, you got to be better at the quarterback position. I'm not even talking turnovers. You got to distribute the ball and even just get a little bit of offensive points generated because that game would have been over. That game would have been over if they could have generated points.
Eddie Steele joins. But when Bethel Thompson came in, it was 17-10. And what did he do in his series? He completed 50% of his
game
passes.
Was over. The game was done, man. All the air was out of the flag. Cat was out of the bag once Trey threw that interception. That was it. Everybody was deflated. That was when he threw that interception. And here's another thing, too. Jarius Jackson, one thing that McLeod Bethel Thompson gives you, again, is a veteran who knows defenses. Jarius said Trey was confused. Look, there's only so much you can do in the CFL. You can blitz, you can play man or zone defense. I've been there. There's only so much you can do to disguise it. So
how do you get better, though, as a quarterback? Don't you have to see that to get better? Don't you have to go through?
You have to see it, but is now the time when playoff points are on the line to do that?
Yes.
Is now the time? Does Larry Thompson want to waste time when he's fighting for a playoff position?
Eddie, what's a realistic goal for the Elks to make the playoffs? They've got to go 4-0 to make the playoffs.
They're not worried about next year. We're in this now, though. We're playing for playoffs right now.
So that's where we'll strongly disagree. This is the problem. The organization
so you
has had
flush this year. You want to flush this year? And
no, because I don't think that McLeod Bethel Thompson, clearly based on every statistic, because you talked earlier about how, you know what, you need a QB who's really going to move the ball. In 3 of those wins against Hamilton, it's Saskatchewan and Calgary, who aren't close to the defense of Winnipeg, aren't close. We'd all agree with that. He averaged 216 passing yards. That's it. He wasn't going down the field crushing them. He had 216 passing yards. He had 200. The most he had in one game was 240. Right? They had the one game where, it was the oddity of 486, where he got that weird extra yards on a fumble, whatever. They gave him like 80 extra passing yards. And he had a good game. I'll give Bethel Thompson credit. He had a really good game that game. But the other games, it wasn't like the quarterback play was out of the charts. I look and say the numbers all back up. Ford might not look as traditional as people want, but Bethel Thompson isn't the answer to this team moving forward. There's no chance he is. So,
but we're talking about this year, man.
Well,
we're not talking about moving forward.
Okay, well, if I'm Larry Thompson and my GM and my coach are going to look and say, we're valuing 4 games where we have to win all of them, which the odds are pretty low when we've only won 13 of our last 50 games. Now we're going to go in with this Cinderella low odd chance to make the playoffs. And that's our focus more. So now we're going to show our young quarterback no respect. We're going to show him no loyalty, despite showing for the last 2 years, every other quarterback in the organization got loyalty. They got chances to lose games and lose games and lose games, but you lose one game and now you're out.
There is no loyalty. If there's loyalty, I want to hear what Vernon Adams has to say about loyalty. There ain't no loyalty in pro football, man. It's about winning, Jason. Loyalty to who? Trey Ford? If Trey Ford walks, okay, let's talk about this, because me and Mr. Kevin Carius of the Kevin Carius Show, we've done this exercise. If he walks, Jason, there's maybe 4 jobs available with the Vernon Adams going to hit market. And if you're a GM who knows asset management, this guy, both times, 2 seasons in a row that he's had his opportunity to have the starting position, he's been hurt. So, it's not all roses, man. Sure, there is potential, but he hasn't proven much. He really hasn't.
Because you're not giving him any chance. The minute he has one bad game, you throw him to the sidelines. He didn't play bad against BC. He played great. The Elks were terrible. They're 0-7. Trey Ford comes back in, lights it up in the Hamilton game. And by the way, if we're talking about wanting to pull the quarterback earlier, the same coach who stuck with Bethel Thompson when they're 0-6, their offense is doing nothing, Eddie, against Hamilton at halftime. You're right in the game. He didn't pull him in. A veteran quarterback. Why? Oh, because this guy has shown that they have a different standard for Trey Ford than they do every other quarterback in the organization.
I'm glad you keep bringing the 0-7 record up. Must I remind you, they have the number 1 offense in the CFL thus far, Jason. This is the best offense. So with bad quarterback play from both quarterbacks, man. So forget the 0-7. It's not the offense's fault, man. Go look up the stats. You love it.
Go look up Bethel Thompson's numbers. You just talked about the reason. You just talked about the Winnipeg game was a lost opportunity. How can you then say that the Hamilton game wasn't? McLeod Bethel Thompson sucked in that first half. What do you have? 70 passing yards against Hamilton. And then they still stuck with them. They didn't bring in Trey Ford till the final 10 minutes. What did Trey Ford do? Scored 3 touchdowns on 3 drives.
So can I ask you this then? So let's forget Eddie Steele and Jason Gregor, and let's talk about Jarius Jackson.
Yeah.
Because Jarius Jackson, people are going to say he's a disciple of Chris Jones.
I would agree.
Because
based on actions.
You would agree, but he certainly is not Chris Jones because he played the position. He played at Notre Dame. He played 3 years in the NFL, 9 in the CFL. He won Grey Cups, 3 as a player. He coached Mike Riley. So he knows the position. He's not just not playing him because he's not playing. These guys' jobs are on the line. Do you not think the guy who played quarterback and knows quarterbacks isn't going to give himself and his team the best opportunity to win internally? Do you not think that out of a quarterback?
Well, I'll use this example for you, Eddie. Doug Peterson was considered an offensive guru in Philadelphia. He goes to Jacksonville, and everybody talks about how the worst play calling in the league, and nothing changes. So whatever a guy did and what their pedigree doesn't guarantee success, and it doesn't guarantee that they're making the right decision.
But I don't remember Doug Peterson playing unless he played and it was before my time. I'm talking a guy who played and a guy who knows. And I'm not saying all players know how to coach. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying the quarterback position is a different position, man. It's a different beast. And you would think a guy who's played it at literally the highest levels across the board would know what good quarterbacking entails.
Well, history will tell us there's lots of coaches that don't, just because you're a great player doesn't necessarily mean you're a good coach.
I know. That's not what I'm saying, though.
Yeah.
But jobs are on the line. Jobs are on the line. These guys are all
so if
for
I'm
Larry
telling
Thompson.
you, if I'm
trying to win.
Yeah, if I'm Larry Thompson, I'm like, let's look at a big picture for success. Right now, the Elks have a narrow-minded viewpoint from a losing organization with no plan for the future. I think it's clear to say they're only caring about the playoffs right now. So you just said that Bethel Thompson isn't the answer moving forward. We agree.
No, absolutely
so
not. No.
At the most important time of the year where there's an opportunity, these next 4 weeks is an opportunity to get Trey Ford as many snaps, let him understand, let him learn from some mistakes, read defenses better, get more comfortable so he can come into camp next year and be your guy. Instead, they're going to go to Winnipeg, who, by the way, is the best defense in the league, the team that has been to 4 consecutive Grey Cups. 4 consecutive Grey Cups. So what if Bethel Thompson goes in there and loses? What did you gain? That's my question.
No, you didn't gain anything, but because it's one more game, one more loss, right? But as of now, Jason, we're in a playoff fight. So, like, you can't just throw everything to the wind.
I think it's a misleading. I think you're fooling yourself if you think it's like a real fight, though. That's what I'm saying.
Man, you're all about the numbers, man. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. I'm looking at the numbers.
Okay, the numbers don't lie.
Playoff fight.
They're 3 points back with 4 games to go, man.
You're telling me a guy who played that with 4 games left, I'm not going to be thinking I'm in the playoffs in a fight. I played the game, Jason. You're telling me that it's a write-off? Man, good luck telling the locker room that.
Well, I don't
wild,
so you're telling me then the locker room fully believes that Bethel Thompson gives them a better chance to win. You know that?
Certainly, I do not know that, but I can tell by looking at the receiving core when everybody's eating, they're enjoying it. And everybody doesn't eat when Trey is at the helm.
What do you mean? Geno Lewis's numbers were infinitely better with Trey Ford. That's when they started. They didn't go look at the first 7 weeks. Go look at Geno Lewis. It's not, hey, just go look at the numbers in the first 7 weeks and tell me how Geno Lewis was happy when they were 0-7 and go look at how many catches.
I just want to ask you this honestly. Just honestly.
Yeah.
You're telling me that Trey Ford plays the quarterback position better than McLeod Bethel Thompson as a passer, not a runner, a passer.
Well, then
we're talking about passing.
Okay. But then if I look at Bethel Thompson's career
okay,
numbers.
Isn't the answer though? Is it okay? Yes or no?
Yes. For a
Trey is a better passer.
Yes. Bethel Thompson, go look at his touchdown to interception ratio. It's terrible for a veteran quarterback.
6 touchdowns and 3 picks.
He has how many touchdowns?
6 touchdowns and 3 picks for Trey Ford.
Yeah. As a young rookie quarterback. Now go look at Bethel Thompson's numbers as a veteran quarterback in his career.
The Elks have they're 7th in passing yards, the Elks are, but they're 2nd in passing touchdowns with 25. Trey has 6.
Yeah,
the rest are McLeod.
Dude, he started 3 games. And one of them in BC, he was 6 for 6 for 96 yards, a touchdown, and got injured.
He's only started 3 games, but thus far they have the best offense in the league by team stats.
Yeah.
So
well, great, but
passing yards played a whole lot, but they have the best offense in the league right now, man.
Passing yards, Eddie, when you're trailing in games, I think are
They're
called
7th
what?
in passing yards, though. They're like last in passing
I know,
yards
okay.
with the best offense.
Okay, but go look then at what their running yards were until Trey Ford came in. They never ran the ball.
Trey Ford, if you're saying started in week 8, they didn't accumulate 1 million rushing yards after week 8. all of a sudden to be number
Eddie,
one in the league.
Yes, I will tell
you can't accumulate that much. So the whole first 8 weeks of the league, man, is nothing. You can't accumulate double everybody in 8 games.
Well,
that's just not right.
Well, Eddie, I don't make up the stats. They're right there. Okay,
I'll
give you the stats.
Well,
no, you're not looking at them because you're trying to tell me it's not true. The stats are right there. Brown had no running yard. They were averaging 32 rushing yards.
So you're telling me Leak didn't go for that 300 or 3 touchdown game, 200 yards early in the season?
Not his 200 rushing yard game when they won? Did they win the game when he had 200 rushing yards?
I'm not talking about winning. I'm talking about team stats and how they had a rushing game still early in the year. You're saying they didn't have rushing at all until week 8. I will get you the exact rushing yards for the Elks in the commercial break, and then I will announce it. So here's one last one for you. So you are more comfortable as a losing organization with a low percentage chance. I get the players' mentality. I don't expect the players to quit, but you're the organization. You need to have a vision, and right now I don't think they have any vision. And if I'm the owner, that's what concerns me. That is true. Hey, I'll say it again for the third time. MBT is not the future. He's not.
Yeah.
He's not. But I'm not thinking right now of the future. I'm thinking of a 3 points out of a playoff contention. But I'm all good to come in for my shift on Friday, boss. All is good.
And by the way, Javon Leak, his game where he had 169 yards rushing was against Saskatchewan in week 9, not in the first 7 weeks of the season.
You got me.
Eddie, have a good one. We look forward to it. But hey, we agree. Bethel Thompson isn't the answer. It's the one thing we agree on.
As long as I can still get in the building on Friday.
100%, buddy. Good debate. 100%.
Take care, Greg.
Appreciate it. There you go. No, seriously. I will give you I will calculate the rushing yard. Javon Leak, when he came in, he added a lot. No question. So did Rankin. So did Brown. Now, it helps that they actually committed to the run, but they started committing to the run because the defense, when Trey Ford came in, and it was no different than last year. When Trey Ford came in, they ran the ball because all of a sudden Trey Ford would roll out of the pocket a little bit. Now the defense is now they got to respect it more. It opened up the middle of the field and they started pounding the ball down the guts. And that's what they've done since, which is great because their running attack and the road line got some confidence. I'm not saying Trey Ford is the Messiah. All I know is Bethel Thompson isn't the answer. The Elks have won 13 of their last 50 games. And yes, they had a little hot streak. Great. You have a young quarterback who has much more potential. He's only attempted 63 passes this year. And people are upset because he's not super comfortable in the pocket. Well, no dung he isn't super comfortable in the pocket. He hasn't played there. He hasn't even made a full season of starts, for goodness sakes. And people are expecting him to be as poised as a veteran? What? It makes no sense. And to me, it just illustrates that the organization does not have a long-term plan. And if I was Larry Thompson, I would look at this as a red flag for my management and my coach and say, are these the guys I want running my team moving forward? That's the question he has to ask. Because for me, I think it raises a red flag. We'll return. We'll talk some more football. A gentleman who was at Monday Night Football. We'll talk about it next in the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Booster Juice has a secret. It's a secret menu of secret smoothies you can only see on the Booster Rewards app. Oh, wait. Guess it's not a secret anymore. Visit any Booster Juice and ask for the Berry Bloom, the Go Mango, the Ocean's Tide, the Strawberry Dip, or the Raspberry Rapture. Made with raspberries, cranberries, and vanilla frozen yogurt. The secret's out. Tell anyone you want. Find the exclusive secret smoothie menu on the Booster Rewards app and sneak into a Booster Juice near you.
Hey, it's Kevin Carius. We're heading into fall, but the deals are hot as ever at St. Albert Dodge. Like this, a 2024 Dodge Compass Altitude 4x4, discounted from $48,860 to $39,900. We're talking cool, black 18-inch aluminum wheels, a 10.1-inch touch screen display, Apple CarPlay, backup camera, all the bells and whistles. Good choice of colors, too. But supplies are limited. Get yours before they're gone. Head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Get ready, Edmonton. The country sensation, the Wreck Laws, are coming to the Edmonton Expo Center Arena on October 3rd. It's your chance to see the award-winning duo that's taken the country scene by storm. From Long Live the Night to Feels Like That, the Wreck Laws are bringing the party to you during Jags Rodeo Week. Don't miss out. Pre-sale tickets available from now until September 16th at EdmontonExpoCenter.com. Public on sale begins September 19th at 10 a.m. The Rec Laws at Edmonton Expo Center Arena on October 3rd.
It's wall-to-wall savings at the Brick, where you can find deals for every room in every department. Take up to $540 off sectionals and find other amazing savings on all the essentials for your home, like up to 40% off mattresses and up to 25% off dining and bedroom furniture. Plus, don't forget about your kitchen. And buy more, save more, up to an additional $300 off select major kitchen appliances. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Ready for a Sally hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at ewell.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
As a farmer, you can't afford to take any more risks than you already do. That's why you choose InVigor Hybrid Canola from BASF. It's not just the patented pod shatter reduction and clubroot resistant hybrids. It's the performance you trust to deliver year after year. This season, we're adding 3 new early maturing hybrids that are designed for your fields. So get ready to test the limits of your bins. See your retailer today and find out why InVigor has the top 3 hybrids in Alberta.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at Cantork.com.
Diablo Boots in Canada West. 2 great names in work and cowboy boots. For over 60 years, Diablo has been selling the best-made Canadian boots. Diablo has boots from sizes 6E to size 15 EE, just for you. Why buy boots made in China like Ariat, Justin, or Red Wing, when Diablo has the best quality for less, made in Canada? Diablo has work and cowboy boots with replaceable soles and heels for longer life. So, save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard, on the east side of Save On Foods. Hurry in today for best selection.
And Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Orders Nation, YouTube and Facebook. Text line is humming. We like it. People try to say, the Elks don't matter. I would strongly disagree. I think there's lots of people passionate about the football team. They care that they've been terrible for a long time. As outlined, 13 wins in their last 50 games. Not ideal. Order fans know a thing or two about that from previous decades of darkness. So you probably feel like you're in the similar type of pain at times. But the Elks have played better lately. I don't agree with this decision at all to go back to Bethel Thompson. I can understand when people say there's still a chance. So until you're mathematically eliminated, fine. But I don't see a lot of numbers or data that suggests that Bethel Thompson clearly gives you a better chance to win based on the stats. So we'll talk a little football. We'll go talk some NFL and CFL. Farhan Lalji, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home of the no payments, no interest for 1 full year on your furnace. Get ready to warm yourself all winter long at legacyheating.ca. Farhan Lalji from the CFL on TSN was also watches lots of NFL as well. We might even get into the Football Canada Mullins resignation as well, Farhan. But I guess let's start. What was your initial thought when the Elks announced their starting quarterback for this Friday night's game against Winnipeg?
I was surprised, quite frankly. And I'm not going to sit here and say it was the wrong decision. I'm just going to say I'm surprised they made the decision. And the reason for that is that, there's short-term but also long-term ramifications as it relates to this, right? So it felt to me like they had settled in on Trey as their quarterback, short-term and long-term. I think long-term they still have. I know they've even begun preliminary discussions about a possible extension with Trey Ford, right? So all of that kind of factors in. I think it took some time, but Trey Ford and Jarius Jackson, I think there's a reestablished trust between them. There was a lot of debate previously about who was the person that stunted Ford's ascension and growth. Was it Jackson or was it Chris Jones, right? And so I think they're kind of past that to the point where they trust each other in terms of performance from coach to player and what they're doing in terms of how they're using them in terms of play calling from player to coach. So I think they had really taken some steps to get to a really good place. But I think in the last couple of games, like before Trey got hurt, those 6 quarters of football that Trey Ford played, in my estimation, were the best. That was the best football Trey has played.
Yep.
And I say that because there was a completeness to what he was doing. He wasn't just using his legs and being dynamic that way. He was also getting through his progressions, and that excited everybody in that building to the point, like I said, where they began extension conversations and all of that. And then McLeod has to come in because Trey's hurt, and I thought the last couple of games that McLeod played, he was exceptional, like really, really good, better than he was earlier in the year when he might have been putting up numbers but the team was losing. So then, Trey comes back and didn't look good in the last game. I mean, I think that's the worst game he's played this season, and the Elks believe they can get into the playoffs, right? So if you're gonna take a big picture approach, which I thought they would, you would go with Ford. But I think on a micro level, based on who's been playing better in the past month, I kind of get why they did it. I'm just surprised they went so far as to do it, given all that we've been through to get to this point with Trey.
I look at it, you have a young quarterback, and I guess if the organization believes they can make the playoffs, okay, great.
And they do.
They
do.
And I
think that's the biggest reason.
Sure. And they got to go 4-0 to do it, right? Realistically, that's what they're going to have to do. And they have to beat Saskatchewan to do it for sure, right? So we'll see. You mentioned how Trey Ford was playing great. And, then you're out for a month, whatever, timing factor, what have you, comes back in, and he struggled against the best defense in the league. There's no question. He struggled. Now, one of the interceptions I don't put on him, it's right in your receiver's hands. He deflects it up. That's not on him. But
for sure,
I look at that game and I see a young quarterback who, okay, struggled a little bit. And so you pull him when you're down 1 score, and the guy that you put in place of him does absolutely nothing in his time. So, I didn't understand the timing of the pull when it's a young quarterback. It just seemed like a little bit of panic, and they're more like, if I'm Trey Ford, I look and say, the minute, like every other quarterback here the last 2 years when I've been in Edmonton, gets a much longer leash than I do. I have one bad game, I get pulled in the game. Bethel Thompson can go 0-7 before he gets pulled. Cornelius can go 0-8 before he gets pulled. And so I would wonder, how quickly he would be rushing to want to re-sign with that organization. Now, there might not be a lot of other teams, and I get it. In Edmonton, because Bethel Thompson's on a 1-year deal, they can offer a lot of money. I understand all of that. But I just do wonder if he's like, hey, it seems like there's a rule for Trey Ford, who's the young quarterback, and then a different one for everybody else. What do you think?
Well, I can see how optically it would look that way, but I also think the other side of it is that it's based on the fact he hadn't played in a bit, right? Like, he'd missed some time with that injury. So it wasn't that you were being necessarily pulled. Had he been playing great for a month or 6 weeks or whatever it was, I don't think that happens to him in that moment. But I think that because it happened in his first game back, I think that said, look, this guy's rusty. He's not ready yet, right now, based on the amount of time he's had off. And I think that's why he got pulled. and why they wound up making the same decision. I mean, you go look at what happened in BC with Vernon Adams, for example, this weekend, and there's some parallels to the situation, right? And certainly, you can say what you want about Rourke having what he'd done 2 years ago and all of that, but so Nathan Rourke comes in and Vernon Adams is out for a month, 6 weeks, doesn't get any first team reps in practice, and then all of a sudden they throw him in. Now, they never should have pulled Rourke in that moment, but then when they put Vernon Adams in, he struggles in that moment. So when they have to make the big picture decision, they don't necessarily view Vernon's entire body of work this season. They just view what's happened in the last 6 weeks, right? That Nathan's had some better football. Vernon came in, probably in unfair circumstances, didn't necessarily set the world on fire. So they're going to stick with Rourke because he's played better of late. So I kind of think that's how he's been positioned. But look, it's fair, right? I mean, I haven't talked to Trey or his camp since this decision has been made, but I did have some conversations in recent days prior to this decision, and I thought things were in a really, really good place. So we'll see how much this affects it. One thing is certain, that those two guys, much like the situation in Vancouver, really, really get along with each other and support each other. So, I think McLeod's going to do everything he can to make sure that Trey doesn't feel like, the world is falling apart here. So, we'll see what it looks like. It's not a situation that's necessarily going to divide that room like it might in other places. But I think it's a fair question that if you were thinking about signing an extension, does this change that? And what that's going to look like for next year in terms of not just who the starting quarterback would be, but who's your backup, right? Like, do I feel like I've got to look over my shoulder all the time?
Farhan Lalji joins us from CFL on TSN. And so when we go to the decision, so let's say they win the game, people are going to say, yeah, it was the right decision. But what if they win the game and still don't make the playoffs? Because if they win the game, then obviously Bethel Thompson starting the next game. I'd be stunned if they revert back to that. So if the goal is to make the playoffs, and now you miss the opportunity for your young quarterback to get more reps and develop, because let's be honest, he hasn't played a lot. He's a very young quarterback. And I had people saying, well, Warren Moon, he was on the sidelines and learning. Go back and look at how many passes Warren Moon got to throw every year. He wasn't just sitting on the sidelines barely throwing, right? He played a ton.
100% right.
And to me, if you want you have to commit to your young quarterback. And right now, I just feel like they have yet to really commit to Trey Ford.
Fair. Yeah, no, it's fair. And I mean, you can say that the fact that they've had conversations on an extension would say on some levels, because financially, listen, it's not going to be for backup money, that they've committed from that standpoint. But from a micro standpoint, you're not wrong. And, it's tough because right now, if you're G-Roy Simon and Jarius Jackson, you are also trying to earn a job, right? Like, you're trying to have that interim tag removed. And I believe, I can tell you, I know factually, like, there was a lot of momentum leading to that happening. Like, if you would have told me in the next 2 to 3 weeks, if they'd continue to trend the way they were trending, that they were going to extend them and drop the interim tags on both guys, that would not surprise me. Like, I think it was headed that way. So if you are Simon and Jackson, you are also working for your jobs right now. And what's the most likely scenario going to be to ensure that you get that job? Yeah. Is it going to be that you get into the playoffs and get really close to it? Or is it that you invest everything in developing Trey Ford for the final month of the season, regardless of where the chips fall, right? So I think they're probably dealing with that. And, like I said, those two last performances from McLeod were really, really good, right? And, you can put context around everything that happened early because they were still losing, but it's hard to put context around those last couple because they were solid, right? So, I get why they're trying to make a short-term decision, because you look at a team that is starting to get some momentum and getting some interest back in the marketplace. Like, that crowd was really, really solid in Edmonton for this past game. And despite a dud of a game, they were engaged and into it all the way through, right? Like, it's not going to take much for this fan base to come back, in my opinion. So they're probably just trying to gauge right now whether it's a playoff push right now that's going to do more to get them back. But, there's the other side to it. To your point, Jason, it's like, if I'm the season ticket department and I want to start early renewals for next year, I need a face to that. And that face is Trey Ford, right? So all of that factors into it.
Yeah, 100%. Like, Bethel Thompson was great in the first game against Calgary. The second game, 15 of 25 for only 219 yards. I didn't think he was very good in that game. They won that game. It was close, but I don't think Thompson played very well. Just my own opinion on it, but we'll see. You look around the CFL, there's, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Farhan, they started slow. And it's almost like they were like, okay, whatever. And now they're really rolling. And you know what? They won 6 in a row. They're back at the top. They've been to 4 consecutive Grey Cups. They're a team where, they committed to someone and they were patient and it's worked. And that's where I look at Edmonton when you said if I'm my GM and my coach,
who did they commit to?
Their head coach. Because remember, everybody's calling for Mike O'Shea,
yes.
right? They're like, we got to get rid of him because he didn't win right away, and they didn't. They're like, no, we want continuity, and we want some consistency, and now they have it. And when I hear that, like, should the Edmonton manager and coach be like, well, what's more important, the playoffs or the future? To me, it's a very easy answer. It's the future, because making the playoffs to lose in the West semifinal and then you don't develop a young quarterback doesn't really gain you anything for next season. The game's not going to be at home. It's not really exciting your fans. They're going to watch on TV and you lose. I don't think it's worth it. Just me.
Maybe. Look, to me, if Edmonton were to make the playoffs, they would be going in on such a roll that they would be an absolute contender. Watching them play with Trey in the lineup for, like I said, those 6 quarters before he got hurt, and after with McLeod, like, that team looks like a contender to me. Like, their defense feels like it's come of age. Receivers are getting more comfortable with the offense. Jarius knows what they're doing well, regardless of quarterback. And I think that I think they've also gone to Trey and said, look, you're still going to play. Like, you will play this season. We're not burying you for this season. We need to do this now. And so what that looks like and what scenario plays in, I don't know. But to me, if that team got into the playoffs, I don't know that they would be an easy out. I think they could be a legitimate team that could go on a run. And, and listen, a lot has to go right. Like, you can say what you want about the Mike O'Shea experiment for the sake of argument. Mike O'Shea had Zach Caleros thrust upon him. Mm-hmm. Mike O'Shea did not want to trade for Zach Caleros, and it happened. And it was the best thing that could have happened. And then they kind of built from there, right? And, and this year, it's amazing. I mean, I look at their offense right now, and they still haven't been good. They're winning with really, really good defense, in my estimation. And
yes,
it's the fact that they're 3 games away from clinching first in the West. Their magic number is 3 is incredible right now, that the rest of the West has fallen the way it has to allow Edmonton or Winnipeg to tread water and get there. I mean, I think for a lot of these situations, it's fine margins. And now all we do is talk about Winnipeg's culture, right? And how they just know how to win. And when you think about how close it was to going the other way for them, back then 5 years ago, but also this season, it's interesting. But like I said, if Edmonton were to get the wins they needed, they might be able to do it with 3, just given what else is happening in the West. They might not need to win all 4, but they'd at least need to win 3, and 4 would virtually get them there for sure. I'd be afraid to play them. If I was BC or Winnipeg or whoever gets in, I would be very afraid to play this Edmonton team.
Yeah, well, they got to get there. It's a big one for sure. One last one quickly. When we talk about young quarterbacks and development, at what point do they look in Jacksonville and say, okay, we got to do something different? Not necessarily with the quarterback. Are they like, is the play calling terrible? Is it the quarterback? I think he's got the most interceptions in the NFL over the last 5 years. I think it's 61 well, not just interceptions, fumbles, etc. He's got the most in the league. Like, what's going on there?
Yeah, it's a great question, because he is on the Mount. Trevor Lawrence is on the Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks coming out of college that were ready for the NFL. Like, when people talk about his pedigree and his readiness and his evaluation in terms of all the different metrics, it was Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, John Elway, and Trevor Lawrence. Like, that was the conversation, right? And Urban Meyer was a disaster, obviously, and then Doug Peterson comes in, and for the next 2 seasons, we can see growth in Trevor Lawrence's game. And since then, we have seen none. And he continues to make those same mistakes, continues to take the same risks. I don't think the play calling has evolved. I don't think the offensive talent is elite around him. But Trevor Lawrence, we're now at a stage in his career, and he just got the bag. We've got to look at him and say, you've got to own your share of this. So, I don't think they can walk away from the money, and there's no easy answers to this right now. But, look at different quarterbacks around the league, Sam Darnold being the most recent example. And just think of what the right offensive coordinator and the right pieces around him can do. And so while Doug is a good quarterback whisperer, right, in terms of a play caller, I think there's something lacking there. So, again, I'm not saying this is not on Trevor, but I do think there's other parts of it that are contributing. But, you can see whether it's a Baker Mayfield that can turn it around with the right coach in Tampa, or, pick a guy. These guys generally get thrust in too fast. And, Bryce Young's having to wear it. Jaden Daniels, it's worked out great last night. But let's see what it looks like. And, I feel for Bryce Young, right? I mean, he's a good quarterback.
Oh, he's young.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's not easy.
No, it's not easy at all. You got to be. I still believe these teams that for the most case, man, I'd let them all I got to do is look at Green Bay. It's the prime example. You let young first round picks get some time, learning, and boom, away they go. It's a much harder position. They play very different, and especially when you got a proven quarterback. I get these teams. Some of them don't have one. That's fine, but maybe you don't need to develop them for 3 years on the sidelines in there. But at some point, you probably look at playing them, especially, like a guy like Bryce Young at his stature, right? There were so many people saying that was a risk just because of his size. Like it can't see over the hulking D lineman at times. Like that's not a sizeism. That's just a fact. So I'll be very curious to see how that plays out.
You're right. And with that, now the system really has to reflect that, right?
Yes.
Like you need to move the pocket more and you need different concepts. You can't ask a 5'10" guy just to sit in there and make reads.
Yeah, it's too hard. Farhan, great stuff, man. We appreciate it. Enjoy the weekend.
Take care, my friend. We'll talk soon.
There you go. It's Farhan Lalji from TSN. Take a quick break. We'll come back. Terry Ryan will join us. We got Dave McCarthy. Struddy's coming up on Tuesday. Lots and lots to get to right after. Sports 1440 update brought to you by the 6th annual Jason Gregor Pizza Pig Out, all in support of kids sport. If you want kids to play sports and you love pizza, it is a perfect mix. You can get your tickets at jasongregorpizzapigout.com.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Quarterback Bethel Thompson is expected to make the start for the Edmonton Elks in their rematch with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers on Friday night. Bethel Thompson and Trey Part have traded the starting role throughout the season. Bethel Thompson began the campaign as the starter, but was benched following the 0-7 start to the season. And Jeremiah Masoli will start for the Ottawa Redblacks when they take on the Rough Riders on Saturday. That was confirmed by head coach Bob Dice. NHL preseason, the Penguins taking on the Sabres. You got the Islanders and the Rangers. Leafs up against the Sens. Ducks travel to San Jose. And the Canucks hosting the Kraken. Major League Baseball, Blue Jays take on the Red Sox just after 5 o'clock. They'll send Bowden Francis to the mound. Brian Bello going for the Red Sox. Elsewhere, Cubs take on the Phillies, Guardians, Reds. The Royals travel to Washington. Yankees host the Orioles. Marlins up against the Twins. The Astros welcome the Mariners to Houston. And the Dodgers taking on the Padres earlier today. Tigers knocked off the Rays 2-1. And playoff action, New York taking on the Dream in the WNBA. Liberty lead that series 1-0. That's at 5:30. Then at 7:30, the Storm head to Vegas to take on the Aces. Game 2 of that series with the Aces up 1-0 there. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by our co-host and former NHLer plus Shoresy star Terry Ryan and Dave McCarthy from SiriusXM NHL. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
It's Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Gateway Toyota treats us like we're precious gems.
Because that's what we are.
Every vehicle purchased from Gateway Toyota includes enrollment into their GEM program.
It stands for Gateway Exclusive Membership.
And it gives you 5-year access to over $2,500 in benefits.
Free oil changes.
Free tire and windshield repair.
Free car washes.
Even an annual detailing.
You'll also get special discounts, trade-in bonuses, and referral rewards.
I feel like a gem.
At Gateway Toyota, just off Calgary Trail at Ellerslie Road. Get ready to revolutionize your job site with Edmonton Kubota's game-changing compact construction equipment. From mini excavators and skid steers to track loaders, carriers, and utility vehicles. They have a model to fit every need, all powered by legendary Kubota diesel engines. These machines are built for performance and reliability. Transform your work with Edmonton Kubota's top-of-the-line compact equipment. Visit them today and see why they're the name you can trust for power and precision.
Rule number 37. Elk Island mosquitoes don't believe in personal space. Keep bug spray ready at all times. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your supplier of maximum comfort, bringing you the cool AC you need. You just have to
Hey, Terry, Connor here. Can you just give me a thumbs up if you could do
For comfort at night when the hot air suffocates you.
Hey, Terry,
Comfort
can you
in
hear
your
us?
wallet with no payments or interest for 1 year.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And hello, YouTube.
You deserve comfort. Cool off today with AC from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
No matter where your potential customers live, no matter what they watch, read, or listen to, you need a marketing plan that connects with them. Let the marketing experts at Stingray Media Solutions create a turnkey advertising strategy for your business, including radio and TV and out-of-home advertising, social and search ads, plus the creative and production. Find out the most cost-effective ways to reach your target audience and grow your business. Get started now at stingraymediasolutions.com.
Welcome back. Spirited Tuesday edition of the Gregor Show. The text line, Ewell text line is fired up. I like it. Hey, Greg's, that's a good debate. Awesome. Best part about that debate, you and Eddie disagree, but you still get along. Well, bingo. Way too many people now is like, well, you can't have a debate or discussion. I'm not trying to change his opinion. We can debate and discuss. Away we go. But like Farhan said, like I think that the one part I'll disagree with is the suggestion that under Trey Ford, the offense never looked comfortable. Before he got hurt, he was playing unreal. Their offense was rolling. Like, look at how many touchdowns they scored on drives for Trey Ford. It was ridiculous. They were killing it. And yes, against Winnipeg, he struggled. I don't doubt that at all. Not debating that, but he's a young quarterback. You're going to have tough games. It happens. Now, welcome in former NHLer, two-time author. Just wrapped up season 4 of Shoresy, where even bigger role. See, look, like a young guy. He learns, develops, and now taking on more of a role in Shoresy. Terry Ryan joins us. TR, how you doing?
Nah, I'm not bad. Apologies. I hope you can hear me well. My computer's not working, so I'm using my phone here. Just back from the Chicklets Cup. Beautiful London, Ontario. It was a great time.
Oh, buddy, I can hear you clear as day. But it's true. Like development and acting development and hockey development and media development and people's job, teaching, firemen, I don't care what it is. If you want someone to get better, you got to learn with some growing pains along the way. That's just part of it.
Honestly, I talk about this all the time. I'm giving a speech tomorrow. A group's in town and kind of wanted to talk about resilience. And I know what they're getting at. They're getting at the Growler. You know, they wanted me to talk about the Growlers game and, you know, the film career and everything. But and I know that that's definitely one of the themes, but more than not, like when I was in that world, I treated it like you'd be a rookie hockey player, you know, and there was development to that, just like anything else. And the odd thing about my evolution as an actor is that I'm doing it with some hockey players, and I'm in a hockey show. So a guy like Ryan McDonald played hockey. He plays goalie, Michaels. You know, he's a pretty good hockey player, midget AAA, then junior B. Not as a goalie, he can skate and everything. So, you know, he gets that mentality, and he helps me a lot. Just like I'm thinking a NHL veteran would help a rookie. So even though one requires athleticism and the other, dedication in other areas, and some of which would be athleticism. but there's definitely more parallels than not. And you know, if you're a lot of people might be able to identify, and I think we're talking about something that's universal. It might not be obvious, but in a lot of walks of life, you know, you really should get your feet under you and learn and take a deep breath. And I remember it, same thing in the NHL, man. When I went up, I just wanted to be, you know, overnight, and you can't do it in that league. You just can't do it. So it's the same thing in the film world. You know, you might look at something and go, I could do that. Yeah, maybe a little bit, but there's all kinds of, you know, learning curves, nuances to each and every role and context to everything. And then, hey, you know what? Then you got to deal with, you want to be on set for 18 hours. It's going to happen sometimes. You know, there's going to be sometimes we're filming outdoors, it's freezing, and we got 13 more hours left. Like that often gets people. You don't and which again in hockey is probably like the training part. How many kids end up being 15, 16, 17 and they go home because they or you know, they quit their dream because, you know, they want to, you know, do regular high school things, whether that's, you know, having a few beers in the woods or being with your girlfriend or, you know, just sloughing off, you know, like that really takes care of over 50% of people that are actual prospects. So before you even start the learning curve, there has to be some level of dedication and want in you and ultimate goal, because I can only speak again for acting and for playing hockey. I was a Red Bull rep, nothing against it, but it wasn't my passion. So I didn't use those. I didn't use the tools available to me. I didn't call all the other reps and say, hey, you know, what should I do in this situation? But eventually I learned from people by, you know, it wasn't natural to me. The acting, even though it might not seem natural, it's more natural than being a sales rep. But even in that world, I needed help, you know?
Oh, yeah, 100%. We're into training camp or preseason now. There's 3 games gone. And, you know, you've seen it's a wild time, some of these games. You know, you see a lot of, you know, turnovers. You see a lot of missed passes from players that normally don't do it. You know, they're shaking off some rust. I've learned over the years, TR, I don't put much stock into the early preseason games. I kind of look at the last 2 because that's when it's 90% NHL players on both teams. And you get a little sense. But even then, the final 2 preseason games, guys are like, yeah, okay, we're playing, but no one's really going out there to knock themselves out to win a job, because most have a job. And also they just don't want to get injured. So like, it's really hard to analyze the preseason. Where do you come out on it?
It is. When it's early, I'm looking at the players that are trying to make it more than anything. I hate to, I don't want to rub any salt if there is salt in this wound, but it's when I first noticed Dylan Holloway, put it that way, a couple of years ago, because he got a chance to skate and be confident. And there are bursts. I mean, obviously, God, in Toronto, a guy like Pacioretty, right? Like there are, you know, he comes in. All we really want to do is see that you can put that puck in the net, you know, because everything else, we know you're a work in progress as a PTO. But so different situations require different points of view, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, it's not real. What I'm honestly thinking to you, because in my life and the things that I saw as a player and now as a fan and often a friend, is just don't get hurt, right? If you're young and you're going to go out balls out and get hurt, okay, whatever. I got hurt trying to but you just don't want to see the veterans get hurt. So it's harder to gauge those guys. You might see the odd great play. I got to be honest, man, if I had a 10-year or even any kind of long-term contract, you know, and I was valuable to a team, especially I just went to the Stanley Cup Finals. That's the number one thing I'm thinking. It's a big-time gray area. Certain things, you know, certain guys stand out, then maybe it makes a difference. But for the most part, I find it's a very, it's a strange time of year. And the last thing I'll say about it, I used to hate that when I say as a veteran, say in junior, and have like an unbelievable exhibition, have like 10 goals in 8 games and then start dry. There's a mental thing there too. So the short answer to your question is that I never really loved exhibition. I find it hard to judge. And I was just thinking, you know, go hard, but at the same time, try not to get hurt. It's a weird mental space to be in.
Do you remember Chad Kamek?
Yeah, I do. From not only that, I remember Chad from Cornell, he played down south on the Kootenay on Cranbrook, and then we played together in Tri-Cities. He was tough. Chad Kamek dropped his gloves at center ice right off the opening draw with Dave Kamek, his brother, when he was in Tri-Cities with me, and Dave was in Portland, and they were both very tough customers. Yeah.
I didn't know that one. Well, he says hello. I played with him in our junior hockey alumni game last Friday because he had coached in Beaumont. So we were on the same team, and we were chatting. He had a few TR stories. Some of them might have to tell off air. But
hey, and you know what? You want to talk exhibition? I saw Chad Kamek fight 12 times one exhibition. Oh yeah, back when it was just nothing mattered. Guys were getting in 5 fights a game sometimes, and I'm really not exaggerating, because that's just the way it went. And you'd be in those, like a guy like Kamek would come in, and he's looking to fight, right? So I might give him one, like he was probably going at the other. He was a bit of meat, good guy, but he came in to do one job and one job only. So then as a guy like me, you're like in the middle, so you're like you're going to take and anybody looking to make it at all is going to fight. So it was just a mishmash. It was fight after fight after fight. You had to just stick handle your way through the fights and hopefully get a shot on net at some point during the game. It was a really wild experience. Now, oddly enough, for me, I used to a bit of anxiety, but I used to like it. I'm like, right off the bat, because it's not going to get any crazier than exhibition. And the season would start and it'd calm down, and you'd find out who your friends were in a hurry in exhibition. That's for sure.
Yeah, I definitely could imagine. But no, he had some good stories. Just talked about how good that Tri-City team was, and he said, he was talking about you and Damon Lankow and like how skilled you guys had. A lot of skilled guys, lots of guys who got drafted. And he's like, if you look back on that team, he's like, man, that's probably the one team that's frustrated they didn't win.
For sure. I look, but I can say, you know what? I can look at it and I can shake everybody's hand on Kamloops and say they were just better than us. They were a couple of years older. They were definitely, we were being led by me, Lanks, Boyd Olson, Pavel Kreese. Most of us were in our draft year that were making an impact. We had a couple of older guys, Robbie Butts and Chad Cabana, and I could go on. Zenith Kormaniski he's a year younger than me. He was our best D. We had Ryan Marsh, was an older fellow with us, who's people in Edmonton know well, but we were definitely younger than Kamloops, and they were a juggernaut. You could make an argument they're the best junior team ever. They got 3 Memorial Cups. I think it was 5 years. If I'm wrong, it's 6.
3 and 4, yeah.
Yeah, so I was there for all of those years. They're in our division, right? So from a personal, I often say this, you come away from World Championships saying you get silver. There's something to be said in that. Well, after 72 games of junior, and, a lot of us accomplished a goal. Myself, Lanks, and Bush went in the first round, but there was other success stories. Guys signed. Yaroslav Shevkovsky came in, and then the next year he went, I think, 8th or 9th overall. Dan Fote the next year went 10th overall. Boyd Olson got drafted that year. Like I said, Sugar Ray Schultz, Kreese. There was more.
Brian Boucher was a first rounder.
Bush was a first rounder. So 3 of us. Now, do you think that had something to do with we're playing Kamloops, the most heavily scouted team in years, in the best league at the time in the world for junior? And they were. Look at all the Memorial Cups, not just Kamloops. Look before that. We had Swift Current and Medicine Hat, Spokane. They were winning a lot. So for me, you look back and it would have been really nice to win. I'm not just saying this because Strud's going to be on later. Shucks, but they were a great team. They were built to win. And from day one of the season, especially my second year, the first year, if I didn't see enough, right, then they won it both years. The second year I came back and it was just like, hopefully we took them to 6 games. 2 of those games were overtime. I look back, man, and go, wow, look at what we did. Whenever I talk to someone from that team, I go, man, we ran into a jug. No one else came close. They won the Memorial Cup that year 9-1 in Kamloops against Detroit or Plymouth or whatever it was. Detroit Junior Whalers or Plymouth. Brian Barrett was there. They walked through. It was a cakewalk. Yeah. So I consider our year a success. But thank you, Chad. Yes.
Yeah, just said, yeah, had a real talented team. When we come back, Dave McCarthy will join us. The NHL is beginning overseas, of course, this year. Maybe some of you don't know, but New Jersey and Buffalo will start the NHL. A few years ago, Edmonton and New Jersey did it, if you recall that. I think that was they played, Sweden and Germany, if memory is correct, for the Oilers. And the Devils, we'll talk a little bit about that. Also, a few other previews of teams and some injury updates. Still, the Swayman watch continues in Boston. Lots of NHL talk next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Booster Juice has a secret. It's a secret menu of secret smoothies you can only see on the Booster Rewards app. Oh, wait. Guess it's not a secret anymore. Visit any Booster Juice and ask for the Go Mango, the Ocean's Tide, the Berry Bloom, the Raspberry Rapture, or the Strawberry Dip. Made with strawberries, chocolate almond beverage, bananas, and vanilla frozen yogurt. The secret's out. Tell anyone you want. Find the exclusive secret smoothie menu on the Booster Rewards app and sneak into a Booster Juice near you.
Sipping gin and juice, just trying to stay cool. And I'm sweating buckets bigger than a swimming pool. Cruise to Heritage Mall to enjoy some AC. Then my shorty hears the homies from Legacy. I say, listen, yo, where we gonna get the dough to pay Legacy from the radio? He says Legacy Heating's got a deal that's the bomb with no interest or payments flipping all year long. No money, no problems. That's the life that I choose. Chillaxing with thousands of BTU.
Doing whatever the heck that was. That's how you build a legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Neither snow nor rain nor heat nor gloom of night stays these fine folks from the swift completion of their appointed work, or something like that. They're the fine folks at GS Construction, and they do like to do their job, which could be infrastructure rehabilitation, water and drainage solutions, land development, general contracting, and dedicated maintenance and emergency repairs. Interested in working for such a fine outfit? GS Construction is always on the lookout for great workers. Find out more at gsconstruction.ca.
Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales teams, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Gather around the radio, kiddies, for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the barbarous Buchberger. Now sing along. You know the words. Oodle Noodle time. Oodle Noodle time. You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best Oodle Noodle dance. Your best time of day is Oodle Noodle time.
The Canada-wide clearance is on at GMC. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on the 2024 Sierra 1500 Elevation. With Sierra's 13.4-inch diagonal premium GMC infotainment system with Google built-in compatibility, available off-road package with hill descent control, plus an available 3-liter Duramax diesel engine, you can take the road less traveled and try new things, like fishing or whitewater rafting. I should have gone fishing. Ask your GMC dealer for details.
3:29. Welcome back. Tuesday, the Jason Gregor Show, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. Also live at Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook and X. Thanks for watching, listening, downloading the show. We love it. It's always presented by Alberta.ca, and we would love one of you to win 27 mil. Lotto Max tonight. Just remember the deal. One of you wins. You throw a party. We're invited. We win. We'll have multiple parties. I think it's fair trade-off. It's fair trade-off. Jason Gregor alongside Terry Ryan as we go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. And I have to assume by now you've tried it, but on the off chance you haven't, the Big Arch is here. The biggest burger they've ever had at McDonald's, and it is good. 2 double quarter-pound patties, lettuce, special sauce, cheese, onions. It's got it all. Try it out at McDonald's as we welcome in Dave McCarthy from Sirius XM. Davey, how you doing, my man?
I'm good. What's up?
Oh, buddy, lots is going on, man. If you're a sports fan, this is the greatest time. You got MLB stretch drive, CFL is going on, the NFL, NHL is back, F1. You go around junior hockey, junior football, youth sports, NCAA. Like, man, it's literally like multiple orgasms for sports right now. Is what it is. Right?
I didn't realize this is the Jason Gregor After Dark show.
Hey, in honor of Sue Johansson. Come on.
Let's
true. Let's be realistic here, right?
That's true. It's true.
Pretty exciting for a lot of sports people. So
never watched that show, by the way.
Well, Sue Jo, did she have a show? I just remember listening to it on radio. Gosh,
there was a television show. There was
TV.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I like how you two are like, oh, there's TV, but we never watched it. Liars.
Okay, for those of you only listening on the radio, but you won't get it. But for those of you watching on the YouTube channel, there's a reason why I leaned into the camera.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
Was that Sue's go-to TV move? She would lean.
Oh, I don't know if that was her move, but it was, the move that one makes when one says something that one doesn't actually mean.
Yeah. Okay. So it was I remember it being quite educational. And
so it was.
Topics, you're just like, oh my God, what is she talking about here? This is great. Can I get a notepad out here? Like,
yeah, I was just going to say, me and my buddies, I was in grade 8. I remember laughing and we listened. And then I remember going, okay. A couple years later, I'm like, boom, 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 boom. And there are things I still use to this day. Thank you. Rest in peace, Sue Johansson. Sue Johansson, right? That was her
Sue
name?
Johansson, yeah. Sue, the Sunday Night Sex Show. She knew it, man. It's a taboo topic for a lot of people. But hey, you know what? You can always learn. You think about it. How do you get better in sports? You got to practice. You got to learn. You got to get some teaching. So
she was ahead of her time.
Yes, she very much was. Now, Davey, here we are now. We've had preseason action. It's a weekend, and Detroit's got their guys. Winnipeg just got Cole Perfetti locked in. So it's only Swayman. And when their GM said, we'll get it done by December 1st, a lot of people were like, ooh, geez, December 1st. But it sounds like there's not a lot of movement there. And in that division, my goodness, if he even misses 2 weeks, 3 weeks, like that might be the difference between home ice, and it might even be the difference between the playoffs.
It could be. I think when you look at it right now, and that's what stood out to me when he's referenced December 1st, because that suggests that Boston's willing to let this slide into the regular season, and that there is still quite a lot of work to do to get the sides closer together. So that really stood out to me. And then obviously it brings back memories of the William Nylander situation from a handful of years ago where he let it slide to like 5 minutes before the deadline on December 1st before he got his deal done. So I agree. I don't think they're anywhere near close to an agreement at this point. But I think the point is that Jeremy Swayman has put together a resume where he deserves to get paid. And I think he looks at where Igor Shesterkin is right now. And I think this could be maybe a tipping point in the negotiation once he gets his deal signed. Like, he's getting 11, boys, Igor Shesterkin in New York. He is getting 11, if not more. Okay? Jeremy Swayman, his numbers are comparable to what Shesterkin has put up, maybe for not quite as long, but I think we've seen enough to know that Swayman's a really, really, really good goalie. And so I think he's looking at it and saying, well, if he gets 11 and you're offering me like 6 I'm not $5 million less a goalie than Igor Shesterkin. I might be $2 million less a goalie, but not 5, certainly on long term. And so I think that's where they're trying to find common ground. And when you listen to what he had to say on that podcast, I forget who it was on, my bad, at the end of August there, where you really got an insight in terms of how his mind is working, how he's worried about not only for himself, but making sure that he signs a deal that pulls the next guy up, rather than signing a deal where the next guy, they look at Swayman's deal and say, well, he signed for 3 years at 6, so why are we paying you any more than him? So I think that's how his mind is working right now. And he knows, he understands he's got leverage, Jason, right now, as you pointed out. He's got leverage. If they don't sign him, like Eunice Korpisalo's a good goalie. He's not Jeremy Swayman. And it's going to be tight in that Atlantic division to not have your like that. He's a guy that is a distinct advantage for Boston. They don't have that distinct advantage. They're not a good enough team to overcome a loss of a guy like that with the teams they're going to have to contend with and the teams below them in the standings that are looking to make a push this year.
TR?
Speaking of Willie Nylander, how do you think, well, how long do you think the centerman project is going to be run here? Do you think he's got a chance at sticking there all year?
I don't know about all year, but I would expect it to last at least 5 to 10 games.
And I guess explain why they would do it in the first place.
Well, the reason they're doing it in the first place is because they see the second line center role that was currently occupied by John Tavares, and they'd like an upgrade there. That's why they're doing it. John's production at even strength last year was okay, but not at the level where you look at and say, well, we're comfortable with that. That's good enough. They'd like an upgrade there. And so they weren't able to get anybody from outside the organization during the offseason. You look internally, and he makes the most sense to try in that role. You could argue Mitch Marner, though he's tended to have good chemistry with Austin Matthews, so you don't want to necessarily mess with that. It makes sense that Willie's the next guy to try in that role. And if he can handle it, and John can slide down into that center role, maybe on the, call it third line, call it the identity line, maybe more accurately, as Craig Berube has talked about wanting to put together. Suddenly, I think you strengthen yourself in 2 ways. One, you upgrade your production in your top 6 if Willie can handle center ice minutes. And 2, that third line then suddenly becomes one of the better ones in the National Hockey League, a line that can chip in offensively. But I think if you look at maybe the middle 2 lines with Toronto, if Willie centers one and John Tavares centers the other, they'll be deployed strategically, right? Like when they have an offensive zone face-off, that'll probably be Willie's assignment. When they're in the defensive zone, John Tavares is a guy who can still check really effectively. I think he'll get deployed. So I think they'll mix and match those lines based on the situation that they're in. To finish off your question, how long do I expect it to last? Longer than it did last year, which was like a game and a half in a preseason. And Willie said himself last week, he said, well, I don't know. You have to ask my old coach that because it only lasted like a game and a half. Obviously, a comment about Sheldon. So he said, we sat down, him and Craig, and they talked about it in the offseason. He said, look, if you want me to do it, you got to give me more than a game and a half, right? So I would expect them to give him all preseason and, a good 5 to 10 games in the regular season to see how it's coming. Because if you're going to try somebody in that role, guys, right, like you need to give them a bit of a run.
I think so too.
Yeah. 100% for any, and to me, if you're going to use all of training camp and preseason, then to me, you're committed to doing it for, I would say, minimum 10 games.
Right.
Yeah. You have to do it. Otherwise you just wasted time.
It seems like an odd fit to me, but I'm the same way. Last year it was like a game and a half, 2. I thought it was longer than that, but I'd go honestly, because now we're going to see, like, after this, let's just put that to bed. Either he's going to do it or he's not. And I would give him, honestly, probably 10 or 15 games, to be honest with you.
You have to, because you can't try something like this And then the moment the guy turns the puck over the first time, done, can't do it anymore. Can't.
Yes, exactly.
It makes no sense. Guys are going to turn the puck over every now and again. Even McDavid turns the puck over from time to time, right? So you have to give it a run. Will it last long? I think part of the issue last year was that John's production waned early in the season, and Sheldon Keefe thought, well, maybe a way to get John going again is to put Willie Nylander back with him. But I think the way they're looking at it this year is if Willie's able to handle his own line and John can center a third line, and I think he's at the point in his career now where he's more accepting of being in that type of a role. Last year at this time, I don't know if he was there mentally, you know what I mean? Then you strengthen yourself both ways. And like I said, they'll deploy them strategically. Don't call it a third line, call it 2 second lines that they'll use depending on the situation that they find themselves in.
Davey, one final one for you. There's a few teams that I'm very interested to see what they will do this season. There's lots of talk in Ottawa and Buffalo and everywhere else, but I don't know if there's a team that made more significant changes to the roster than the Washington Capitals.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you on Washington heading into this season?
Well, I'll tell you what, I know everybody on Sports 1440 tunes in every Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. Alberta time. Very interested in what it is that I have to say. But I'm not even that interested in what I have to say sometimes. I'll tell you who you should be interested in. Dylan Strome. You can't fool the players, okay? The players know. And when I talked to Dylan a month or so ago about the Washington Capitals, like this guy had a grin on his face the size of the Cheshire Cat with what they did in the offseason. Like he was thrilled. They brought in 7 new guys on a team that already found a way to squeeze into the playoffs last year. And I think surprised a lot of people in doing so, myself included, because there were a number of times last year, boys, I don't know about you, but like I wrote them off. I've said, nope, they're done, not happening. And they found a way to get in. Partly that was because really nobody in that race played any good down the stretch, and Washington was able to play just good enough. But what he told me was that for the young guys on that team, the Connor McMichaels, guys like him, Dylan Strome, who never really had made the playoffs in their career, that meant a lot. Maybe not so much to the Ovechkins and the guys like that, and then they got pumped in the first round. But he said for the young guys, it made a difference because it made us feel like all of our work was worthwhile, and it led to something. And then they got some experience, and then they went out and they really upgraded the team. I don't think this is going to be a team that has a winning window for 4 to 6 years. But I think what they're looking at is now the duration of Alexander Ovechkin's contract. Can they make themselves a team that can contend for the playoffs and then maybe do a little bit of damage? I don't think anybody's looking at them as a legitimate Stanley Cup contender at this point, but maybe a team that can win a round or two, who knows? And so at least when Ovechkin's chasing the all-time goals record, which, what does he need, 42? It's not out of the realm of possibility. He gets it done this year. That when he gets it done, that they're a team that are playing games that mean something, and not a team that's 30 points out of the playoffs and they're just looking to pass them the puck every day. So he's thrilled. The players are thrilled with what they've done in Washington. And I'll say this, I tend to agree with them because you look at that division. I think Carolina, I think we've talked about this over the offseason. I think they've gotten a little worse, at least on paper, and they're a team that was ahead. I think Washington can push them. I think it's Devils Rangers, and I think that third spot is wide open. And I don't see why Washington can't lay claim to it at this point, because you mean to tell me they're not as good a team as Pittsburgh right now? I don't see it with Pittsburgh. Philadelphia, okay, maybe, but I'll have to see it. Carolina, they should be in that mix. Beyond that, I don't see anyone else contending for that spot. So I think Washington has made some really good improvements. And I think they absolutely have the potential to be a top 3 team in this Metro division this year.
Davey, great stuff as always, man. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you next Tuesday. Have a great week.
Okay, fellas.
See you, buddy.
There you go. That's Dave McCarthy from SiriusXM. We got a lot of texts coming in on text line, TR. We'll get to those Next on the Jason Gregor Show with Terry Ryan, Connor Halley, and Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, and Orders YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Ain't it beautiful? The inventory is unprecedented. Volvo Cars Edmonton is proud to boast an amazing selection of in-stock Volvo XC40s, 60s, and 90s. Visit Volvo Cars Edmonton today and experience the exemplary service you've come to expect and the affordable luxury only found with Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winners. Experience the difference.
Volvo of Edmonton. Rule number 62, never miss a free pancake breakfast. It's unheard of and frankly a little upsetting. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Mr. Rooter goes for a fall stroll.
Ah, the beauty of fall. These leaves are crunchier than that calcified shower head I replaced this morning. And the earthy yellow oranges and browns are as colorful as the wad of hair I pulled out of the shower drain.
Ugh, Mr. Rooter, can we talk about something else?
Well, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you didn't like fall. You look about as sour as the sewer line I unclogged yesterday.
For a plumber you'll truly fall for, call Mr. Rooter.
Find the perfect tractor for any job at Edmonton Kubota. Their massive selection of compact tractors has something for everyone, whether you're tackling small tasks or big projects. And right now, take advantage of 0% financing for up to 72 months. It's never been easier to get the power and reliability you need. Come down to Edmonton Kubota today and drive away with a tractor that's just right for you. Edmonton Kubota, where your perfect tractor awaits.
New season, new start, new beginnings. Hockey is back at Rogers Place with the Battle of Alberta, WHL style.
Be at the Edmonton Oil Kings home opener this Saturday against arch rivals, the Calgary Hitmen.
It's family fun that's second to none, with Thundersticks for every fan to make some noise. Plus, score kids food combos for $10 or less.
And it's a special 2 p.m. puck drop.
Oil Kings home opener this Saturday afternoon.
Great family entertainment at Rogers Place starts at just $20 a seat. Save on day of game pricing now at oilkings.ca.
The Canada-wide clearance is on at Chevrolet. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on the 2024 Silverado 1500 RST. Explore downtown hotspots with standard Chevrolet safety assist, including automatic emergency braking and HD surround vision camera. Or take on the great outdoors with an available 3-liter Duramax diesel engine and available in-vehicle trailering app. Oh, look, a cute chipmunk. Not so cute. Not so cute. Ask your Chevrolet dealer for details.
Are you getting a share of the profits from your bank? Each year, Vision Credit Union returns about 75% of our profits to our members through profit shares and cash dividends. In fact, last year, Vision Credit Union members received their share of $26.7 million. Think about it. It's time you got your share of the profits. Find out how right now at whatsyourshare.ca. That's whatsyourshare.ca.
Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. Coming up after 4 o'clock, Kelly Buchberger, Jason Strudwick will be by. Got Spec and DVD, but it's time for Terry's Tales. We've got a few questions we're going to get to in the text line with that today. Brought to you, as always, by Action Electrical. Take action with your savings, especially if you're looking for solar for either your home or a commercial building. actionelectrical.net. TR, we'll get you to a tale first, but in a second. But I do just want to ask you, Stu was wondering, he saw a clip of you and Darcy Tucker getting into it in the Habs training camp. Can you expand on what happened there? Do you remember it?
That wasn't me. That was, I believe it was Jesse Razanzoff.
Okay.
He played in Regina, I think. He ended up playing with us in Fredericton for a bit. Both guys were fiery. Tucks was coming off Rookie of the Year in the American League. He had 93 points, I believe. I think. Tucks had a really good year in the American League after like some big years in the West, coming second and scoring twice in a row. And he was just going to make it. I ended up being his roommate that year. I was 19. He was 21. And he was going to make it one way or the other. Like, Tucks fought Asham that year too, right after that. It was I'm not sure the exact argument, but being there, I'm not surprised. Those guys were at each other the whole camp. And I'm thinking it's Jesse.
Okay.
Tucks, I believe I asked him, and I think he thought it was, but if it's not, I'll be surprised. But the story is I remember them being at each other, a lot. And they ended up fighting a couple times.
Okay, nice. Well, hey, let's get to Ryan's rant, if you got one, or a TR's tale. Fire away.
Well, you know what? I got a couple of questions that I get asked for my podcast. So
Sure.
I figured I'd lay them your way. And of course, if Connor wants to entertain us as well, maybe we can have a little three-way here. How's that? Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Do I jump right into it with the the big conundrum? Because this one might take the longest.
Okay.
I have a hockey one and a regular one. Okay. By the way, I can't remember the name, but I do have a follow-up. I'm going to find it next time. Can you remember we had a little, our friend Mikey had a conundrum and he went to...
Oh, God, yeah, in Red Deer.
Yes, so I have a follow-up. They went to Jasper, some other, but I can't find it right. I know I will, so I don't want to... It's going to be far better if I dissect it word for word. Trust me.
Okay, we'll get that.
But
on
on this particular week, we have a similar kind of problem because it's a relationship problem.
Ooh, we love these.
Okay. I begged my girlfriend to let me go to my friend's party. Things started slow, but picked up, and eventually some real nice-looking women showed up. Almost too nice. Turns out they were strippers. I shouldn't have been drinking gin because it makes me black out and act funny sometimes, but I did. And not only did Candy strip for me and me only, but she wanted to go at it right then and there. I almost did, but said no. She was naked, but I got up and walked away before anything more intimate happened. No one found out. Do I come clean and just get this off my mind? Or do I keep this to myself and never bring it up again? Signed, please help me out, TR, from Edson.
Go ahead first.
What do I think?
Yeah.
I think you keep it to yourself. If absolutely nobody knows, no harm done. And I don't think she'd understand. It depends. With the little information I got, I don't know. I would, if I keep it to myself and no one really would ever know, then I'm only really unburdening myself of nothing really that happened. And if I tell her that story, is she going to believe me? Or is she going to think, why? Because I'm going to find a pair of panties or something eventually, or something's going to smell like perfume and I'm going to come at you. And now you're going to tell me that story that you just told me. You're being proactive. That's what I would do.
Cons?
I mean, you got to look both ways. If you tell her, like you said, TR, there's going to be more questions. You know, is there going to be questions about going out with that group of friends, those parties? But, you know, it like you said, if she doesn't, if nobody else knows and you want to eat that's probably going to simplify things. But, you know, it's going to eat you up inside a little bit, keeping that secret, I think.
It is. Now, listen, there's something I do once in a while when something like this happens, and I should say this, okay? What I would probably do, I was going black and white there. There is a gray area. and I would probably write out the story that happened and like sign it and put something there for that day and just put it away. So there's at least something. And if she said something, I'm going, you know what? I thought enough of it to write you this 5-page story. I didn't want to show you because obviously I thought you'd overreact. But now I was waiting for this day. If you did, I love you here. I think a lot of this is what happened. So it's like you weren't the most honest, but you can go back and show that at least it was on your mind. Go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, well, there's many layers here, right? Lots of times when you've done something that you think's wrong and whatever, and if he actually did nothing, then you're the only one who has to live with it, and you're the only one who should live with it because you're the idiot who put yourself in that situation. Don't blame the like he was making excuses. Don't blame the gin.
I know.
Right, and
I was just like, what do you mean the gin?
Yeah,
Come on.
So, and these girls shut up, and magically, then I started drinking gin. Now, were you a bottle in before they showed up? Because if they showed up and then you did it, well, then I have no one to blame but yourself. Especially when you say would do it, and then you're doing it anyway. So there's a few things in there that I'm questioning right now. Well, you know what? Geez, I know that I act like a moron if I drink gin. So guess what? I'm going to show up to a party with a bottle of gin. Like it doesn't seem like you planned it out very well now, did you? Right? If like we had a few buddies that couldn't drink rye. We didn't let them. If we went somewhere like, you can't buy rye, buy vodka, buy beer. You don't drink rye. And when you go to a party, I don't know if strippers just magically show up and, geez, I can't believe this type of party was going to have these people here. Right? So I'm questioning already, and I'm not even dating the guy, but there's too many things in this story already that look shady. So if indeed it's true, then eat it because you supposedly did nothing wrong, and then you could just live with your own stupidity because you're trying to unburden yourself by telling her. And if you did nothing wrong, then there's nothing to tell.
And yeah, he passes over a lot there.
Yes.
What happens? What with the gin? And then what was this, a bachelor party? Or
and then,
party? If it's a bachelor party, I think you could probably get away with just tell right off, just tell the story. But it doesn't say that. And,
how do you go from being in a room with everybody to having a private dance that no one knows about?
Exactly. And is this like, it's a girlfriend? How long have you been going out? What's the context there? I mean, that probably matters. I can think of I can break it down even further. There's some girls I've dated that I'd tell, yeah, it would be no problem. And there's some that I would go, okay, I'm going to eat this. Again, we're assuming no one's going to find out here. He's just saying that. We don't know. Maybe there was people there with cameras. Maybe this guy's foolish already. I mean, I'm irresponsible. And the way he explains all this is even more irresponsible than I'm willing to be at most times when I go out. Anyway.
Yeah, I think Edson is, he's probably should eat it because, yeah, I'm not even dating him and I'm questioning it.
Okay, this is a hockey one. I'm sorry if this is beaten to death on your show, and it probably is, and I can just move on to the next one. Hey, TR, do you think there's any world that Bouchard signs for less than 10 million? That's signed Jimmy in Newfoundland. I thought about it. I know you guys have probably talked about this a lot. I don't know. But I was like, what could possibly do that? If he had an injury, if he had a really bad season, but how bad is the season? How bad could it possibly be when, is there production? Is a power play? Is he going to be taken off the power play? I don't see that happening. How far would it have to go down? And then he's probably, isn't it a Four Nations Cup year?
Yep.
Right. So, he's probably going to be on that. I mean, I don't know. Correct me if you can see something here. I don't see any world where he signs for less than 10 million a season.
It is very hard when you consider that he had twice as many points as Sider had, and Sider just signed for 8.55. Now he's a little bit younger, sure, but Bouchard, you're buying a lot of UFA years on his deal. I would find it difficult for him unless he's going to sign a shorter term deal That's the only way I see it happening. And even then, I would be shocked. I think when you score 82 points in the regular season and then set the NHL record in the playoffs like you did last year for most hits by a defenseman, 30 points in the playoffs. Now they're going to use him on the PK. He's already on the power play, plays a ton 5-on-5. TOI does matter, time on ice, for defenseman contracts. I don't see Bouchard's numbers going down significantly in that regard. So I would be floored. And I'm having a hard time envisioning any scenario where he signs for 9.5, for instance. Sorry,
what do you think, comment?
I'm right along the lines with Gregor. If that happens, he needs to look at getting a new agent because the agent did not do his job under $10 million. So yeah, I'm with Gregor on this one.
Perfect.
So you guys are with me. So here's the final couple questions here.
I got time for one more.
Okay, for one more. Does Hyman get 45, and how many does Ovechkin get this year?
That's a really good question. So Ovi scored 22 goals in his last 35 games last season. Remember, he had 9 in his first 44 from people.
I do remember that. Yeah, I looked at his stats, and I was surprised. I went, what? He must have turned it on late, and I didn't even realize it.
He turned it on 22 and 35, right? Like, that's on pace for over 45 goals in a season. So,
yeah.
They have added quite a bit. Alex Ovechkin already has the NHL record for most 40-goal seasons. He needs 42 goals to break the record. I'm going to say he scores 43. And Hyman, he had a really high shooting percentage of 50 goals. Hardly anybody goes back-to-back 50. I think that's really hard to do. So I will say 45, though. See, I had Hyman at 44, so that's really close, but that's where I have him at.
I'll have Hyman going back-to-back 50 goals. That was one of my bold predictions from last week. And for Ovi, I'll say he comes just short. And you said he needs 42?
Yeah.
I'll have him at 40.
Okay, now let's remember this. I'm going to say Hyman gets 50 on the nose.
Okay.
I'm going to say Ovechkin gets 30.
Connor is writing this down right now.
Yes, and we've said this before.
Yes, why 30?
Because all these shows that do any kind of predictions, they never follow up, and I think we should follow up and add that element.
I like it. So why are you saying 30?
Because I think he's older, and I think he did show us that he can score 9 goals in 40 games, and I'm just making a prediction.
All right. No,
yeah, I think 30 is a lot for a guy his age. I don't think he's going to get more than 40, even though last year he had the 9, and then you said 22 and 35. It's still law of averages worked out. He got what I thought he would last year, and I think he's going to get 30 this year.
All right. Let's go. When we come back, Kelly Buchberger, 20 goal scorer in the National Hockey League, head coach of Devon in the AJHL. He will join us next after Conman Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. They've helped partner up with Sports Central. Got 1 week left. Their goal was to get 1,000 bikes for kids, which is amazing. You got a used bike, maybe it's all something's wrong with it. You can't fix it. Well, donate it. They've got mechanics to fix it. You can donate at any Fountain Tire. Lots of Fountain Tire locations. Just go to sports1440.ca. The locations are there. This Saturday is the final day, 10 a.m. till 3, and we're already at 868. So we're on pace to get to 1,000. Thanks for your help.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Quarterback McLeod Bethel Thompson is expected to start for the Edmonton Elks in the rematch on Friday night against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in Winnipeg. Bethel Thompson and Trey Ford have been treating the starting role throughout the season. Of course, McLeod Bethel Thompson started the year as the team's #1 quarterback, and Jeremiah Masoli will start as the quarterback for the Ottawa Redblacks on Saturday when they take on the Saskatchewan Roughriders. In the NHL preseason action tonight, the Penguins host the Sabres, Hurricanes head to Tampa, Sens host the Leafs, Capitals in Boston. The Sharks host the Ducks, and the Kraken taking on the Canucks. Major League Baseball, Toronto Blue Jays will take on the Boston Red Sox just after 5 o'clock out in Toronto. Earlier today, it was the Tigers knocking off the Rays 2-1 in WNBA playoffs tonight. The New York Liberty look to take a 2-0 series lead over the Dream at 5:30. Then at 7:30, the Storm will try to even up their series with the Aces, trailing 1-0. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by the head coach and GM of the Devon Extreme, Kelly Buchberger, as well as former NHLer Jason Strudwick, plus another edition of 5 Questions. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440.
Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
You'll hear it around town. It's GMC's Canada-wide clearance. But at Wolf GMC Buick, we're putting our own spin on it. Not only do we have over 200 GMCs available, we also want you to upgrade your ride with 0% financing up to 72 months on the 2024 GMC Sierra Elevation. Oh, and how about at least $10,000 cash back in your pocket on in-stock heavy-duty trucks? Yep, it's Canada-wide clearance, and you'll only get these deals at Wolf GMC Buick, corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road, just seconds from the Anthony Henday.
Silent Rides is one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies with state-of-the-art motor coaches. We provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation. Our seatbelt-equipped buses have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, contact Ted Nakamura at 780-940-0880 or visit silentrides.ca.
Gather around the radio, kiddies, for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the barbarous Buchberger. Now sing along. You know the word. Oodle Noodle time. Oodle Noodle time. You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best Oodle Noodle dance. Your best time of day is Oodle Noodle time.
They say at any given moment, only 7% of people are looking for a car, and that 7% notices advertising for cars. Everyone else, 93%, doesn't even hear it. So this ad is just for the 93% who aren't going to really notice any car ads right now anyway. Hey, it's Scott here from Sherwood and St. Albert Dodge, and I hope you, yes you, the person listening right now, I hope you have a great day. Anyway, that's it. I'm done.
In 100 meters, turn right. Actually, no. Turn left. There's some awesome new breakfast wraps at McDonald's.
Really?
Yeah. There's the sausage, bacon, and egg, a crispy seasoned chicken one. A spicy and egg. Worth the detour.
They sound amazing.
Bet they taste amazing, too. Wish I had a mouth. Take your morning into a delicious new direction with McDonald's new breakfast wraps. Add a small premium roast coffee for $1 plus tax. At participating McDonald's restaurants. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Welcome back. And we're already halfway through the show. It's just flying by. I hope you're having an awesome day. Beautiful weather out. Are you kidding me? What a great day. 25, 26 degrees in September. Ooh, got a little rain yesterday. This is ideal. Live it up, baby. Oh, the perfect days to go for a walk. So I hope you're getting outside if you can, or maybe you're just getting off work. You're like, boom, I'm going for a walk. So enjoy it. There is no orders tonight. They're back in action. They'll be in Winnipeg tomorrow. And Chris Knobloch suggested a pretty good chance Stuart Skinner will make his preseason debut tomorrow night for the Edmonton Oilers. So that'll be something for you to want to watch if that interests you at all. It is the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. The final week of MLB. Get into the games. And also Lotto Mac, $27 million up for grabs tonight at PlayAlberta.ca. As it's time that we go in the community right now. And we're going to talk with the former Edmonton owner, multiple Stanley Cup winner. He is the head coach of the Devon Extreme. By the way, really like their jerseys in the AJHL. Bucky, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
Good. So, at the AJHL level, it's a little bit different, right? You're coaching, you're recruiting, you're helping organize billets. How is the last few months been for you, especially with an expansion team?
Well, unfortunately, my golf game has gone south because there's hardly been any golf. But it's been great. It was a little bit of a challenge. We started off with no players, and we have a roster, and we got some affiliate players, and we're we're going to our first showcase. We're going down Highway 2 to Calgary to play 11 o'clock game tomorrow.
Okay. Well, and you know what? You're 500. You're 2-2 to start the season. So I know coaches are always, they're never completely satisfied. But what would you make of the early season for your team?
Well, we've showed a couple of good things, and then obviously sometimes when you're winning, when you win a couple of games, you're not happy either, like you just said. But I think one thing we're happy with the effort the guys give night in, night out, and our practice days, and it's a challenge. There's no question about that at this level, and the kids are bringing it all every night.
You have a young player, Kai Billy, just had a hat trick, was named one of the players of the week in the AJHL. Obviously, pretty big game for him. And as you play, Kelly, there's certain guys in certain roles. Is he a player that you're expecting to be one of your more offensive guys this season? I
think so. He's from St. Albert, and he wanted to come back, and we picked him up late in the summertime, and he shoots the puck well. He's got good speed, and we got him on the power play on one-timer side, and he has a pretty good release. And we have some guys that can put up points, and probably the biggest weakness we have is playing defense, and we practice it every day, but do we get better? I hope we are.
Now, as a coach, when you say that's your weakness, what is it specifically? Do you have a lot of guys who maybe just, aren't naturally defensive, or is it more so just, you still have young players? You got a lot of teenagers, and playing defense is something that, not a lot of young players at any level really gravitate towards.
I think you nailed it right there. I think the biggest thing is that they're all pretty skilled players, and but they don't take a lot of pride in their D-zone coverage. And I think one thing that we want to do as a coaching staff is that we want to play defense first, and then use your offensive talent once we start playing in the O-zone. But we got to make sure we concentrate first on playing really solid D, so we don't give up as many chances.
So as a guy who, of course, you went to the NHL, and, you kind of made your bread and butter, blocking shots, defensive guy, killing penalties, all of that. How do you... Were you somebody that naturally had that? Did you have a coach? Did you have somebody who helped you recognize the importance of taking pride in your defensive game?
I don't think it came till I turned pro, and just from minor hockey to junior hockey and moving forward. But I think once I turned pro, I realized that how much important it was to play strong defensive hockey and have an opportunity to win hockey games when you do. And there's no question you have to have a really good goaltender, and you got to have some D-men that really are true defensive players that want to take a lot of pride in it. And then your forwards will buy in. But I think everybody buys into their role and plays, even the offensive players play sound defense. You always have a chance to win.
Kelly Buchberger joins us, head coach of the Devon Extreme. Kelly, for you, just as a coach, you've coached pro, you've coached in the WHL, and in the AHL at all different levels. There's definitely maybe more coaching that goes on here because players are still learning a lot. Is that exciting? How's the challenge of maybe having guys that you have to repeat things maybe a little bit more than you would at the pro level?
Well, one thing at this level. We only play mostly on weekends, so we have a lot of practice time for we're teaching and developing the kids, and hopefully we're getting through on them. But we do spend probably an hour and a half a day on the ice with the kids, working on all systems. And listen, they've been through minor hockey, they've played junior hockey. They know the systems. They seem to read the film very well and know what we're doing. But it's a matter of once the game starts, and you got to turn your head on to make sure they're buying into what you're selling.
Kelly, overall, and I know you weren't in the AJHL, but of course, some teams left. They went to the BCHL. When you talk to other coaches, how do you feel the overall talent level is at the AJHL this year, maybe compared to past years?
Well, what I've seen, and obviously we've only played 4 games regular season, is that the talent's here. There's no question about it. There's some good young players mixed with veterans that are capable of putting up points, and they're all pretty strong skaters, and they got some skills. But I haven't seen the BC Junior League, so I don't really know the talent level that's in that league. But I'm impressed with the AJ, how well the kids are, and they can buy into anything you're selling.
And what about the new town of Devon and how they've received the team? How's that going?
I think it's been great. We've been having pretty much sellouts. Our rink isn't overly big. But the new rink and everything, our dressing room isn't done. But I tell you what, the fan support that we've had in our 2 games or 3 games at home has been really outstanding. And, we're happy to be there. The kids, I take it they're enjoying it because I haven't heard any complaining about it. But it's going to be a great place for kids to come and play. There's the academy that's there, the NAX Academy, and it's a hockey hotbed right there in that area.
Now, is it true that they're going to have like a Winwell Bucky night where everybody's wearing the Winwells?
No such thing anymore. They wouldn't even know what that was.
Oh, like, do you wear the Winwell in practice, or do you go bucketless?
We go bucketless at this level.
Okay. Oh, I just thought you might want to just throw it out there once just to see. Because you still have it, don't you?
Well, yeah, it's sitting in my office, but I think it's falling apart. It's got so many beatings, I don't know what to do with it anymore.
I want to ask you as a coach, Kelly, now you had a brand new team, so maybe it's a little bit different. Kind of come in, right? Like everybody's got a blank sheet. They're all trying to make the team. But in a lot of training camps, sometimes there's only limited openings available, right? And so I would think it's hard for a player sometimes to get noticed, and maybe even hard for a coach to say, man, we got to make some evaluations. And I'm sure you had it on a few players on very limited viewing. So what was it that ultimately decided for you on who makes and doesn't make the team? Like, how thin of a line is it?
Well, I think one thing we did is that we watched a lot of film throughout the summer on certain players. We got player trades from other teams in which we had to pay cash for trades. But I think the biggest thing is that we ended up carding 23 players right at the start. And it seemed like we didn't really miss that much on all the guys that we signed. We did sign a couple other players out after training camp, but we're pretty much where we were throughout the summer with all the signings. And right now, it looks okay for us. We're 500, but to us, we want to make sure that we have a successful season, and the successful season for us is making the playoffs and making some noise after that.
Well, Kelly, best of luck. Who are you playing at the showcase?
We are going to play Olds and then Drayton Valley.
Drayton Valley. Well,
Drumheller. Sorry, Drumheller. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, there you go. Well, good luck, and we'll talk to you throughout the season. Thanks for your time.
All right. Thanks for having me. All right. Take care.
It's Kelly Buchberger, head coach of the Devon Extreme. For those of you out there in Devon, maybe you want to check out a little AJHL action. So another local team. They got a lot of local kids from around Edmonton and area. Leading scorer currently from St. Albert, Kai Billy, who is I think tied for 7th in league scoring last I checked. So only a few points back of the leaders, and we'll see how it goes. I'll be kind of curious. It's a little bit of a transition year for the AJHL, but I also remember when the AJHL, like, more isn't always better. Having, more teams, I would argue, I think the WHL has too many teams, if I was being bluntly honest. I don't know if there's that many true quality players. You bring in some young players that maybe shouldn't be there. They don't get enough playing time. It's not really helping their development. Have a few fewer WHL teams. That would strengthen the BCHL, would strengthen the AJHL. I think it would actually be better for everybody involved. Now, do I think one of those WHL teams is just going to up and fold? Probably not. To the money and everything. So I understand it, but do I think it's the best for the overall development of Western Hockey League players? I don't. And I think it would be better to have, because you've got some players that, they're playing in the league, not really playing, minutes, all that stuff. It's not ideal. Let's get to a quick break. When we come back, former WHLer, multiple Memorial Cup champion, Jason Strudwick will join us. According to Terry Ryan, they just used to beat up on Tri-Cities for fun in the playoffs. We'll discuss that and more. Preseason, as a defenseman, how does Struddy evaluate the D in the preseason, especially early on? Because I know there's lots of people got a lot of text in there about, Brown hasn't looked good, and Dermott hasn't looked good, Stetcher hasn't looked good. Oh my God, doesn't look good. Well, we'll talk to Struddy about that next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk, family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
For over 65 years, Denim Ford has delivered the customer service and value that keeps Albertans moving. And now the value is better than ever. Don't miss your chance to pay what Ford employees pay during the factory authorized employee pricing event. You'll see real invoice pricing on all vehicles, like savings up to $16,000 on Super Duty models. It's Ford employee pricing, but only until September 30th, where cars always cost less. Denim Ford in Wetaskiwin or at denimford.ca.
In 1973, deep in the basement of an Edmonton family home, an elite team of specialized forces came together to form Action Electrical.
Action Electrical Divisions, assemble!
Projects team reporting.
Service team reporting.
Testing team reporting.
Energy team reporting.
Supercharged with skills in their electrical fields and grounded by strong family values. Facing an electrical menace? Call on the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
It's wall-to-wall savings at the Brick, where you can find deals for every room in every department. Take up to $540 off sectionals and find other amazing savings on all the essentials for your home, like up to 40% off mattresses and up to 25% off dining and bedroom furniture. Plus, don't forget about your kitchen and buy more, save more, up to an additional $300 off select major kitchen appliances. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
New season, new start, new beginnings. Hockey is back at Rogers Place with the Battle of Alberta, WHL style.
Be at the Edmonton Oil Kings home opener this Saturday against arch rivals, the Calgary Hitmen.
It's family fun that's second to none, with Thundersticks for every fan to make some noise. Plus, score kids' food combos for $10 or less.
And it's a special 2 p.m. puck drop.
Oil Kings home opener this Saturday afternoon.
Great family entertainment at Rogers Place starts at just $20 a seat. Save on day of game pricing now at oilkings.ca.
Carve out for a cause at the 6th annual Jason Gregor Pizza Takeout presented by Swift. Thursday, October 24th at the Canadian Ice House. Indulge in unlimited pizza while raising some dough for kids sport. Vote for your favorite slice to crown the People's Choice Awards winners. Don't miss Edmonton's biggest pizza party with Gregor broadcasting live. Tickets are $60 or $200 for a group of 4. Adults only. Buy your tickets today. For more details, see jasongregorpizzapigout.com.
The Junior Prospects Hockey League is entering its third season of gameplay. The JPHL now offers academic and athletic opportunities in the 14U, 15, 17, and 18U age divisions. All JPHL games are broadcast live on Silent Ice TV with a showcase-style game schedule and high level of travel and accommodations for its team, staff, and players. To learn more about why the JPHL is the fastest growing elite hockey academy stream in Western Canada, visit juniorprospectshockeyleague.com.
The Canada-wide clearance is on at Chevrolet. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on the 2024 Silverado 1500 RST. Explore downtown hotspots with standard Chevrolet safety assist, including automatic emergency braking and HD surround vision camera. Or take on the great outdoors with an available 3-liter Duramax diesel engine and available in-vehicle trailering app. Oh, look, a cute chipmunk. Not so cute, not so cute! Ask your Chevrolet dealer for details.
.424. Welcome back. Tuesday afternoon on the Jason Gregor Show, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. And it is time for Struds On, brought to you by Action Electrical, where they remind you, take savings or take action with your savings. You're looking at, you're sitting on the fence. You've been wondering, should I get it? Should I not? Want to get solar? Especially at your residence or even your commercial building. They can help you out, save you money. actionelectrical.net.
The Jason Gregor Show presents Struds On.
It's the memories. That's what you remember. Memories. It's a bouquet of enjoyment coming in my mouth there. But it's like I always say, HK, who cares?
It's time for Struds On.
Freddie, good afternoon. How you doing, my man?
Well, good. And at first, I want to congratulate you. I heard I had a couple scouts. They've been watching you play, I guess, Friday night, and they said your stride hasn't changed. So I don't know if that's that you're never a good skater and that you can keep up to an hour, that you're still in good shape and you're always a good skater. So either way, it was a good report, a favorable report from some of my scouts.
Struddy, I'm not even joking. I think I might be a better skater now. And honestly, because I never learned inside or outside edge at our age. Like, they didn't teach that stuff, but I've been learning that for the last few years, with perfect skating and stuff. Like, I think I know how to accelerate through crossovers in the neutral zone store, like the little weave. We never did any of that stuff. Like, honestly, no, I was never a great skater, but which is why, it's probably a sad reflection of my skating abilities as a young man that I think I might be better now.
Well, you know what? I guess what we learned here, guys, is, there's no requirement to have any kind of lane strength to have a decent stride. You've broken it.
Friday, no pictures on the score sheet, right? As long as you get from A to B, they don't care how you get there.
No, exactly.
Yeah. So no, let's not kid ourselves. Was skating your forte? TR, like if you had to rank Struddy's fortes, would skating be at the top?
No, it wouldn't for me either, though. I don't know. A lot of those guys out west at the time, we were chopping. But I mean, that was the style. Iggy was the best player in our league. He wasn't a great skater. Look at Tux.
Yeah.
If you really think Nat Tom Kelly's the best skater I remember on your team.
Yeah, he was a really good skater, and I think like different time too, right? Like it's 30 years ago. We didn't have a lot of options. There was Audrey Bakewell. Was
Laura Stam. I used to go to Laura Stam.
Yeah, so not many, right? And then so it's changed now. I mean, you can't swing a cat by the tail in an arena without hitting 3 skating coaches.
Yeah, true enough. And relative to the time, I mean, I don't want to at all. I sit here, I feel bad putting down Jerome McGinley, one of the best players ever. You know what I mean? The first thing you saw wasn't the skating. It was powerful and his stride and all that, but. For me, it was definitely my worst attribute. In all the draft write-ups, it says, hey, this guy, all this, good at this, great at this, but skating's an issue. That was always the thing, and I always had to work on it.
Struddy, so you're watching the preseason games, and I've learned over the years that I don't get too fired up about a good performance or necessarily a bad one. It was kind of comical last night watching the Oilers get pumped by the Flames in Edmonton, really, and just when you look at some of the players on the ice. But Edmonton obviously has significant changes on their blue line this year. Emberson, Stetcher, and Brown are likely there. Dermott's in on a PTO. I don't know how much of the road game you watched where all those guys played, but Brown and did play here in the first game. What are you looking for in the early exhibition games for D-men when admittedly a lot of the veteran players say like these first few preseason games are not overly fun?
It's really hard. And we've seen, guys, have hat tricks and stuff that you're like, well, this guy, I mean, never hear from him again. Right. And so it's really hard. You're right. The veterans aren't going. And then you have the younger guys who are just inexperienced. So I always found that, I felt pretty good in the first couple of exhibition games. Like, man, I must have had a good off season. I'm looking really good out here. I'm wheeling and dealing, throwing the puck around pretty good. And then the guys start trying game 1. And then by game 82, I'm like, oh yeah, I probably should be working hard again this summer. But so, Josh Brown, I feel like I know what he is, right? I think he's going to be a guy that plays hard, needs to make a good first pass and try to move around as well as he can. So I don't feel I really need to evaluate him because I think I know what he is from watching him play enough in Arizona. Then you move on to other guys. Stetcher, I'm not sure what I think I know what he can be. I'm not sure if he is still that or if he can still be that, right? He's getting a little bit further on. He's coming back. And then, of course, Embison is the guy who's just a complete wild card for me. So I want to see him. And I tried to watch from the first game. And, again, it was, how many, maybe 6 players total, guys, would be in the NHL from that game with Winnipeg. So really hard to evaluate in those moments. And you should, when you're playing teams like that and you're a guy, who is an NHL defenseman or expects to be there, you shouldn't really make any mistakes in that group. Not that they can't happen, but, because the quality of competition isn't what it is when all of a sudden you play a full Jets lineup or a full Flames lineup. So those 3 guys, I think the story's still to be written on Stetcher and Embertson. But I think for Brown, I kind of know what, and I expect I can feel comfortable saying this is where he slots in 6-7.
Yeah, well, that's kind of where it's going to be. I think Emberson's, I get the sense, just listening to the team, looking at where he's played, that he's probably going to get that first opportunity when Darnell Nurse gets into the lineup, which is likely going to be next week for some of the final preseason games. It sounds like Stuart Skinner, according to Knobloch, is going to play his first preseason game tomorrow in Winnipeg, Struddy. And you can look at it 2 ways. Now I know Brown and Janmark are going there as well. Maybe Brett Kulak. Usually in the preseason, your road games are, not as many NHL players historically, especially early in preseason. Is it a good thing though? Like if Skinner's only going to play 2 or 3, do you want him to play in a game where he's going to get a lot of shots? Is that beneficial, or is it not beneficial if he's getting a lot of point blank shots?
Yeah, interesting perspective. I think you want him to be busy. Like I just from my own personal experience, I wanted to be involved in the game. I didn't want a no hitter. I didn't want, no penalty kill. Like I wanted some guys to take some dumb penalties so I could, get into some penalty killing situations and kind of get my game going. So for a D-man, for a goalie, I'm guessing he wants action. You don't want a, 12 shot shutout. You want to feel you want to feel the puck, make some plays, have to make some reads again on the penalty kill. Maybe I think you want the other team's top players playing so that you have to read off of them and kind of get your groove back. And when I look at this situation, guys, for the Oilers, there's a lot of new players in this lineup.
Yes.
If the guys that have left for whatever reason, I have Kane. He's not going to be a part of this team for a while. Nurse will be here, but he's kind of not around right now. So the challenge for the coaching staff and quite frankly the players is to get this thing together. To get it going. So Leon, I would have liked to see Leon play with Skinner and Arvidsson. If he's only playing 2 or 3 games, you want him to get to know these guys. And I get you want to give other guys chances, but you got to get these guys feeling good about each other and playing well each other. I know it's a long year. I get all that. And this isn't me pushing the panic button, but the chemistry, sometimes it clicks right away. Other times it takes time. And I think by playing and practicing together, guys, it gives you a little bit longer runway than maybe they've been given, through the first 3 games of preseason.
It sounds like McDavid and Draisaitl might both play 4. So I think they might play
4.
Both. Yeah, they might play 4. So we'll see.
Wow,
and if that's the case, then they'll get those games with them together, right? So we'll see. TR?
Yeah, Struds, you mentioned Kane being out. I don't know if anybody realizes it, but he had a lot of hits last year. Like he had a lot of hits. And I think it's when he thrives. And when a guy can make hits like that, he can create momentum. Some situations a player, like he can create momentum. He's likely going to power through with a shot at some point anyway. But at any point he can go out and throw his weight around than he does. But now you're missing 200 out of those. Do you think that's going to change the way they pick the last few players here? Because we pretty much know, the team's pretty much picked right now. But do you think that's going to affect anything in the way they would evaluate everybody else now going forward because he's out for 6 months?
Well, Knobloch, I thought he said in his post game, kind of about Lavoie that, it's nice to get those shots, but we need a big man that can hit. Like if I'm Lavoie and I hear my coach say that, every game I play, I am trying to get 5 hits. I'm running everybody. And what are you worried about? Who are you going to fight? There's no one. The worst thing that can happen in Winnipeg is you have to fight Logan Stanley. I would have dreamt. I would have stayed up all night just looking forward to the opportunity to fight Logan Stanley rather than an Eric Cairns or a George LaRock and just getting beat up. Like at least with Logan, I'd have a chance maybe to get a tie. So, if I'm the best thing he could do is run guys and then fight someone like that. And it's not going to be a fight. it's going to be two drunk guys kind of wrestling on the dance floor. Like there's nothing really happening. So there's a real opportunity here for Aloha, and you have to listen. You have to hear as a player what your coach is saying. So, it's great that Lavoie played a little bit with Leon. He's not going to get that spot during the year, right? So he needs to hear what his coach is saying. Hitting, skating fast, big body. Those are the three things I would hear if I'm his dad, if I'm his agent, if I'm his best friend, if I'm his friend on the team. This is what you need to do if you want to play in the NHL. I know you want to score. I get it. Everybody loves to score, but these are the things that will get you in the NHL, and then you can move up the lineup. It's hard to score in the NHL when you're playing in the AHL. It's really hard to do that.
It's well said. Well, I actually wrote an article today at Oilers Nation about Kane, and I think it's not just the hits guys. It's Kane, because he had 230 hits just at 5-on-5 last year.
Ugh.
If you combine the Oilers' top 9 wingers this year, Brown, Janmark, Skinner, Arvidsson, Nugent Hopkins, Hyman, they combined the 6 of them for 224. Kane had 230 himself.
What?
Yes. So
I was daydreaming. Did I hear that right?
Yeah.
You heard it.
Kane had more than all of those guys together.
Yes.
Okay. Well, wow. Okay. That solidifies my point. I didn't realize that. So clearly there's a hole.
Yeah. And so now Podkolzin's the one guy. He had 71 hits in 19 games. He wants to be physical. He's big. Stan Bowman's talked about it. I think he's that guy. But Kane also played the 4th most minutes 5-on-5 amongst Edmonton forwards. He had the 4th most goals. And the other thing, Struds, and both you and TR played, Kane has, I call it an on-ice cockiness and an arrogance that, McDavid can drag you into the game sometime because he works so hard. Kane can drag you in the game or make you feel a little bit tougher because he's so arrogant, and I don't mean that as a negative. He's so arrogant on the ice. He's not afraid of anybody. He will verbally get into it with teams. He'll physically get into it with teams, and they don't have that. And Struddy, you played I think you used the example once in Vancouver. Like, God, I was like a freedom fighter. It's hard, and so the Oilers don't really have that. And I think the one guy like Brown might play more because of that, Podkolzin. But Darnell Nurse plays a lot of minutes. He's going to have to play with a little bit more bite this year. Am I wrong on that, Struds?
No, and I think that's when he's at his best. So I think TRE just talked about how Kane, a lot of players, their whole game comes together when you're hitting. Like Jerome McGinley, when we played against him, I'd tell the guys, guys, don't chirp him, don't hit him, let him get his goal and assist. Because if you run him and wake him up, he's going to have a hat trick and he's going to beat one of us up. So it's just that's the way it works. So with Darnell's got to find a way to play with that edge. And we've seen him playing with that edge before. And I think he's at his best. I think he plays best then. And I'm not talking about running around fighting all the guys in the league, but being hard, cross-checking guys in front of the net, finishing checks in the corner. And I think then the rest of his game kind of he's doing that. Then the rest of the game just flows a lot easier. And there are some people that are wired like that, like Ginla, Kane, and Nurse are all like that. I know I was personally like that. I think Jeff Petrie was like that when he was with the Oilers. So a lot of guys are wired that way. For the Oilers, they don't have that physical player. So there's a really good opportunity to stick out and to be that. And in last night's game, you have to help me with his name, Greg. It was Connor. Who's the guy that he got sent down today? And he was running out.
Buddy, we were talking about Clattenburg was great. He's that guy. Now he's a young player. But he brings it.
So, how many times, Greg's, in all your years covering the team, have you heard a coach go out of his way to talk about it? What was it, a 5th or 6th round draft pick? Yeah. Like I don't remember that happening. So for that guy, and Kane, not that he's going to play in the NHL next year, but Kane is getting older and he's got a few years left. But there's an opportunity for him if he keeps playing and working on his game for him to slide in because he's not a small guy either. But last night I thought he stood out like it was obvious. I'm like, who is this guy and why is he doing this? And man, do I love him.
Well, yeah, he's exactly. Yeah, go ahead, TR.
No. Go ahead.
I was just going to say he's exactly what they need now. He's a long shot. He's a few years away. He's not going to fill that hole. But I've always argued the Oilers don't draft a lot of those guys. It's hard to find them. So go out and find, like, if you're in the 5th round and you're looking at Bob and you're looking at Terry and you're looking at Jason and you're like, okay, it's similar size, skill, but this guy plays with, he's got an edge to his game. That's the guy I'm going with because they don't have a lot of them in the organization.
No, and give those guys a chance to work their skill up. So in the first 2 games, of this year's draft picks, we've seen him and we've seen O'Reilly. And I think we've seen, okay, we can see what there's something there to like in both players. So I think it's a step in the right direction because this team has to keep adding. They won't have a lot of draft picks, so they might have to find different ways of recruiting young players. But when they have draft picks, they have to find something that can fit and come and help and play.
For both of you, who do you think are going to be the 2 goalies on the Four Nations Cup Canada team?
Struddy?
I think it depends how the year goes. I really feel that. Like you look at some of the other teams. I mean, can you trade for one? Can you trade for a goalie from Russia? Or
At some point you'll be able to, yeah.
We're going to trade you Steven Stamkos for your third goalie. Or whoever, like no disrespect to Stammer, but so, I think that Skinner has a real opportunity to work his way in there. Binghamton's another guy that's in there, but I think that the team, what they're going to have to do, they obviously have a good group of forwards and all that and D, but they're going to have to say, we have to be good. I think our goal, if you expect your Canadian team goalie to win the tournament, I think you're looking at the wrong way to victory, the wrong path to victory. So, the 2 guys I named are probably up there. I'm sure I'm missing a few guys, but selfishly, I'd like to see Skinner get in there. I think it'd be a great opportunity for him to grow as a goalie. And I think if he starts well, I think he would be in there, guys.
Yeah, I think Skinner's right in there. Kevin Woodley has talked to us and he's shown lots of numbers. Binnington's numbers have been pretty good. I think Binnington's in. The other guy's probably Aiden Hill, right? Usually there's 3 goalies on the team. So I'm curious to see if there's anyone that pushes one of those guys up and out. But, Stuart Skinner, he's got a lot of experience, right? Binnington's won a cup. Aiden Hill's been there. Stuart Skinner's played in the Stanley Cup final and was pretty solid in the 3rd and 4th rounds. So I think between those 3, it probably comes down to who's playing the best, in December and January.
Yeah, because their goalies aren't going to win it for them. I wouldn't count on it. And again, I feel very disrespectful saying that, but those guys have had success, but I don't know if they have the kind of pedigree that some of these other nations have with their goal net miners. It's crazy. Some of the depth those teams have.
Like, remember the last time we had like real Canada's best team in 2014? Like the goalies barely got challenged. Canada defensively was so. You know what? A lot of it to me is how are they going to play in front of them, and who are the 6 defensemen might be the better question.
Yeah. Or who are the captain of the team? Who gets to play with Connor McDavid?
Well, Connor McDavid's got to be the captain of a team, is he not?
You don't think Sid gets it? Like, out of respect, I think it's Sid.
Yeah, I guess maybe.
I think it's Sid. I think it's Sid if he's there. McDavid won't. I think it'd be awkward if McDavid takes it.
Right, you're right.
But you know what?
The captain. Yeah, like ultimately, I don't think if McDavid has the captaincy or Crosby has a captaincy, it's not going to impact how either one of them plays.
No.
Home and away.
But both those guys, But knowing those guys, they'll defer it, right? I think that my personal opinion is the only way that that Sidney is not the captain is if he defers it to Connor, which I don't know Sid, but knowing his reputation, guys, I wouldn't be, hey man, it's time to turn the page. But if he wants it, do you think any of that room's gonna be like, oh my God, Sidney's the captain? Like Sidney Crosby had a good year last year. What do you have? 42 goals or 45 goals?
Yeah,
it's pretty good. Pretty good year. Pretty good year.
So,
for 8.7. All for the low price of 8.7.
But honestly, as we get closer though, guys, like you look at the defense core and say who you like. I don't like obviously Cale McCarr's on the team, right? Like
Taves.
You think Taves is there for sure? Yeah,
don't you think they're easy partnership? I think those two.
Yeah,
together.
they are. They didn't play great though. Like they didn't play great last year. Like if you look at some of the underlying numbers there, they weren't that great. And I don't love a smaller D pair. You know me, Struds. That's my one concern. Like there's if you look at when Canada's all defense guys, Pronger, huge, Pietrangelo, Shea Weber, right? Like, you have Drew Doughty, but you always had a few trees. Like, so I don't know if I want McCarr and Taves in that tournament against best on best playing together. I might have them on the team, but I might want someone with a little bit more size playing with Cale McCarr. Like, remember in the Cup final and the Western Conference final when they won, Taves and McCarr got outscored 12-6, 5-on-5.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I was just thinking instant chemistry, right?
Yeah. Like Noah Dobson, Evan Bouchard, Drew Doughty. Is Drew Doughty on your team, Struddy?
I mean, he's, he's such a competitor. And I
Yeah.
think you need some people who have been through it, because it's been a while since we've had some of these type of tournaments. So you pepper in Crosby, you pepper in Doughty, like those guys, not old war horses, but they've been through a lot. You think back to when Doughty, his first gun on the national stage. Yeah, again, I think it depends who gets off, but I think Bouchard, I'm pretty sure I got Taze in there, Makar, Dobson's a good one. Off the top of my head, who am I thinking? Maybe just Carlson. Is he a long shot? Right. Might be a long shot to this year if it depends who's running the power play. So, but I know you need a lot of puck movers, but you also need big guys that take up space and can be physical. And I think they'll look for those duos.
Yeah, well, you look at Drew Doughty, Cale Makar, Noah Dobson, Alex Pietrangelo, Evan Bouchard. Those are all the guys on the right side, right?
Yeah.
The GM is also the GM of the Stanley Cup winning Blues, who has Colton Parayko, who's a massive human to play the right side. So I think it's going to be fantastic. I think the defense is interesting to me. And could we possibly have 4 righties in the lineup and 2 lefties at times?
Yeah, that's crazy. I coached one of my son's teams, and I think there's only 3 lefties on the whole team. Like I remember growing up, like if you were a righty, it was like being a lefty golfers in the 80s. Like you were like, it's crazy, and it's crazy now. There's so many righties, it seems like, playing, I guess more than I remember guys growing up. I don't know, maybe I'm misremembering.
No. Most teams I've ever been on, it was a real challenge to get another great right-handed defenseman. Supposing that was the NHL or senior hockey and everything in between. It's wild, and now it's starting to go the other way. The reasoning, I have no idea.
Who knows? Struds, great stuff, buddy. We will chat with you next Tuesday. Have a good week.
Yeah, talk to you later, guys.
There you go. That's Jason Strudwick, co-host of the Got Your Back podcast. Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan, Connor Halley with you. We'll come back. We'll get to 5 questions and more. Also, lots of text, 833-401-1440 in our inbox. If you need electrical gear, look no better than ewel.ca. They got you covered since 1976.
Michelle and Colette are sisters. Sisters who don't agree on much, especially when it comes to which hockey team is the best.
Edmonton is the best, baby. Vancouver's #1.
Even when it comes to meat snacks from Wilhawks.
I love the Herrenschwiener. The ham sausage rules.
But they will agree
Wilhawk beef jerky is the best.
it might just be the only thing Alberta hockey fans can agree on.
Pick up some Wilhawk beef jerky today, because you don't win friends with salad.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients. Better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients. Better pizza. Papa John's. That's SPORTS20.
Rule number 41. Never challenge a goose in the Bow Valley. They run this town and they know it. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instants, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
The Canada-wide clearance is on at Chevrolet. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on the 2024 Silverado 1500 RST. Explore downtown hotspots with standard Chevrolet safety assist, including automatic emergency braking and HD surround vision camera. Or take on the great outdoors with an available 3-liter Duramax diesel engine and available in-vehicle trailering app. Oh, look, a cute chipmunk. Not so cute. Not so cute. Ask your Chevrolet dealer for details.
At Fountain Tire, we love jingles. Get up to 25% off select tires.
Until October 19th.
Plus a bonus $50 off any service of $150.
Restrictions apply.
Look online today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together.
449. Welcome back, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Terry Ryan on a lovely, beautiful Tuesday. And it's like it's muscle shirt weather out there right now. Tarps off all over the place. Whew, a little great fall season. So enjoy it. Oh, yeah, it's supposed to be beautiful again tomorrow. I think it's going to be even higher, 27 degrees. What they're calling for. So live it up. Might be the final really hot days of summer. So get out there. Enjoy it while you can. I know you golfers are just, you can't wait. Nice. I like it. It's time now for 5 questions brought to you by Brick, where saving you more is what they do all the time at the Brick and thebrick.com, where stop in and you can get great deals on the wall-to-wall savings as you can get in every department, whether it's mattresses, bedroom, dining, furniture, and more. Great sales till the end of the month at the Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, guys. Question number 1 for you today. Which member of the Edmonton Oilers team do you think has the most outside pressure on them this season?
Yeah.
For me, I would say Stuart Skinner. I think he's coming along great. Love him, and they went all the way to the final. Contracts aside, I have every bit of confidence in Draisaitl and McDavid. Maybe a little bit with Bouchard, but a goalie's a goalie. We know what happened last year. I think the panic button was hit a few times, but I would think, for me, the most outside pressure would be Stuart Skinner.
That's a fair one. Good question. Well, I think with the departure of so many defensemen, and I'm going to go with Darnell Nurse. I think he's got to step up and really be the anchor on that second pair for the Oilers.
Question number 2. I know this one might be tough if you didn't see both games, but looking at them last night, Oilers losing both games to the Flames. Did it Oiler, good or bad, stand out to you?
Well, we talked about Clattenburg. Honestly, I kept talking about him. I thought for a young guy who we know has zero chances going back to junior, right? He got noticed. He did what he's supposed to do. He actually had a few really good chances, just couldn't finish. But other than that, oof. Now I didn't. I'll be honest. I was watching a little bit online of the game, kind of during intermission in Calgary, and so I didn't see enough to say, "Ooh, that person stood out for me." But the other one in Edmonton, whose game, I know it's a real lame pick, but I thought Connor McDavid, there was multiple times where you're just like, oh, his skating is highly noticeable. The one thing, though, 3 different times he was in a really good spot and didn't shoot the puck from the slot. So I hope that changes in the regular season.
I like Lavoie, but I only saw some grainy footage. I saw the 1T, and then, like we said earlier, he's capable of being a menace on the ice if he wants to, especially down low. So for me, I'm not going to say impressing me more than anything because I haven't seen a whole lot, but I think he's doing what he got to do to make it.
Question number 3, Gregor, we know your thoughts on this one. Terry, we'll get yours. I'm going to add a second part to the question here, though. Going back to MBT for the rematch in Winnipeg, do you like the idea? And then second part of my question, who do you think will be the Elks starting quarterback next season?
Now, for me, from the outside looking in, guys, I'm new to the whole Elks fandom thing, but I'm missing something if they don't use Trey Ford. I don't understand why, given just the wins and losses. And last year, I remember having him on. Seemed like a positive guy. And you don't associate the Elks too much in the recent history with winning, but he's won them a few games, so I'm not really sure.
I think my stance on this, Cons. Made it pretty clear. I think I strongly disagree with it. I think it's very much narrow-minded, and it gives us a better chance to win. Trey Ford played arguably 2 best games of his career. Then he got injured, and he struggled against the best defense in the league. No question, he struggled at times. He's a young guy who has, over the last 2 years, when he's in the game, your team has infinitely better chance to win. That's just a fact. Even this season, he's 2-1 as a starter. Bethel Thompson 3-8. The numbers don't lie. Sorry, they just are. And we'll see. And the thing is, Bethel Thompson, 2 of his last 3 starts, like the Calgary game, but go look at the other Calgary game. He's 15 of 25. Right? The offense was kind of meh. They got the win. The Saskatchewan game, he had 200 passing yards. Like, I'm not like, oh my God, Bethel Thompson's the answer. So they might win the game. And if they do, it'd be a huge win. But if they win that game and still miss the playoffs, then I think they missed the plot on this.
Question number 4. TSN's doing their annual top 50 players list. As per usual, I'm sure we know who's going to finish number 1. But if you were ranking 1 through 5...
Are you sure about that, Cons?
Austin Matthews, right? If you were to rank them 1 through 5, who would you have?
Well, McDavid's 1. McKinnon 2. Now, are we talking only regular season, or is this best player? Because if we can put the playoffs, then Draisaitl's 3 for sure.
It's your list, so
yeah, I will have Draisaitl because to me playoffs matter. Then Kucherov, then Matthews.
Huh. Playoffs matter. Threw me for a loop.
Well, they should, right?
Yeah, I know, but the TSN is, I think we're referring to, not that this is TSN, but I think we're referring to every year that the list comes out. And when I hear people do their lists, whether it's them or anybody, I never really take that into account. But I'm still putting Matthews on the list.
Oh, yeah. I
got McCarr, not Kucherov.
Okay.
But, I really, and a lot of superstars there, because I want a reason to put Kachuk in there, because I love his spunk. I take him as one of the first picks, and but I just don't think he's as good offensively, even though with all of that rest of the package as the people that you mentioned that I'm about to say. And yes, McDavid's at number 1. You'd have to be an absolute fool not to put him at number. And someone will somewhere will put like McDavid at number 4. Shouldn't keep their job anyway.
Final question for you guys is on this day back in 2010, the social network premiered, telling the story of the creation and rise of Facebook. So if you could see a major Hollywood movie, I'm talking superstars in this one, tell the story of anything, what would you propose gets made?
Ooh, TR, what's your answer?
Okay, now skipping over a close number 2, the Brad Guzhu story, the Guzhu rink here in Newfoundland, a gold medal at the Olympics are only, and a bronze, and about 5, I think it is now, Briars. But unfortunately, they'll never make a movie about a Canadian in Hollywood. And I assume that's what we're talking. And they probably, if they were going to make one about a Canadian, it wouldn't be curling. But it's a great story. Check it out. Brad Guzhu from my hometown. Now, what I would do, my favorite sports story of all time, which just edges out Kirk Gibson hitting a home run on 2 bum knees. I think it was in the 87 championship series, I believe, in the NLCS. But my favorite is named Jason McElwain. He's an autistic basketball player. Please look it up.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Please look this up. If you guys don't, if you're listening and you don't know, please just look it up. It's on YouTube. It's a quick 4-minute little clip. If you only want to end it there, it's one of the most motivational stories you'll ever see, and truly mesmerizing and amazing the way it all went down. It still blows me away, and nothing has shown me yet. It's not my favorite sports story of all time, unless Shohei ends up getting 70 and 70, which is entirely possible.
Wasn't that where it's like, I was as hot as a pistol, I couldn't miss?
Yeah. Yes. You know the story.
Yeah, I know the story. It's great. What story would I want told? Now, is this a sports story, Cons, or is it just anything?
Any story. Any story.
Yeah, well, obviously sports stories gravitate towards a little bit more. They're very realistic. They're always overcome a lot of things. I guess if I was trying to think like, I might want to go, well, just for my own curiosity right now, I would like to get the real story about why Soccer Canada and the women's program and whoever was in charge felt like it was a good decision to get the drones.
That's a great call.
I would like to get to the bottom of the drones.
Yeah.
find the truth. Who thought it was a good idea and why? And then who wasn't bright enough to not realize that flying a drone in a no drone zone is what got you busted at the Olympics? Oh,
I know. Just there's so much to unpack there.
God.
I mean, it could be a comedy too. It could be a comedy, a drama.
Dark humor.
Yeah.
A lot of genres. Oh, yeah. So there you go. Text in which one you'd like. Any event you'd like be turned into a real life story. So you get to know all of the details of it. 833-401-1440 in our email inbox. TR, good to have you back for a full ride. We will chat with you on Thursday.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Connor. Thank you, Edmonton. And I'll talk to you guys in just a few days.
There you go. It's Terry Ryan, our Tuesday, Thursday co-host, full-time when he's not shooting movies and everything else, TV shows and such that he does for fun in his spare time. Let's get to the con man and a sports 1440 update brought to you by Booster Juice. Hey, they could tell you the story of the secret smoothies right now. Do you want to find out? Well, they'll even give you the answer. Download the Boosters Reward app and find out now only at Booster Juice.
Some news out of Elks camp today as McLeod Bethel-Thompson expected to be the starting quarterback for the team when they take on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers on Friday. McLeod Bethel-Thompson and Trey Ford have obviously been handing the starting position back and forth throughout the season. Of course, McLeod Bethel-Thompson starting 0-7 to the year. Jeremiah Masoli will start for the Ottawa Redblacks on Saturday when they take on the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Head coach Bob Dice confirming that earlier today as Masoli took first team reps at practice. On the ice tonight, preseason action continuing on. You got the Penguins and the Sabres, the Devils in Montreal, Lightning host the Hurricanes, Caps take on the Bruins, Ducks in San Jose, and the Vancouver Canucks hosting the Seattle Kraken. The Toronto Blue Jays in action taking on the Boston Red Sox just after 5 o'clock. Bowden Francis gets the start for the Bluebirds. Couple games underway right now. Royals Nationals scoreless in the first. The Brewers on top of the Pirates 1-0. Guardians lead the Reds 3-0. And the Cubbies trail the Phillies 1-0. That's in the second inning. Later tonight, Angels take on the White Sox. The Astros host the Mariners. Cards in Colorado. Diamondbacks up against the Giants. The Padres in Los Angeles. And earlier today, it was the Tigers over the Rays 2-1. WNBA playoffs tonight. The Liberty hosting the Dream. Currently leading that series 1-0. That gets going at 5:30. Then at 7:30, the Storm heading to Vegas to take on the Aces. Right now, Vegas leading 1-0 in that one. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet, as well as Derek Van Diest from NHL.com. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
In 100 meters, turn right. Actually, no. Turn left. There's some awesome new breakfast wraps at McDonald's.
Really?
Yeah. There's the sausage, bacon, and egg, a crispy seasoned chicken one. A spicy and egg, worth the detour.
They sound amazing.
Bet they taste amazing, too. Wish I had a mouth. Take your morning into a delicious new direction with McDonald's new breakfast wraps. Add a small premium roast coffee for $1 plus tax. At participating McDonald's restaurants. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
At Fountain Tire, we love jingles. Get up to 25% off select tires.
Until October 19th.
Plus a bonus $50 off any service of $150.
Restrictions apply.
Book online today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together.
It's wall-to-wall savings at the Brick, where you can find deals for every room in every department. Take up to $540 off sectionals and find other amazing savings on all the essentials for your home, like up to 40% off mattresses and up to 25% off dining and bedroom furniture. Plus, don't forget about your kitchen. And buy more, save more, up to an additional $300 off select major kitchen appliances. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
I take possession of my commercial space in 3 months. I need lighting. I need a fire alarm. I need data. I need a generator. I need panels.
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Projects team reporting. We design, build, and construct all the electrical systems for your projects. Need everything to work right? Get the Action Electrical project team on your site.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
As a farmer, you can't afford to take any more risks than you already do. That's why you choose Invigor Hybrid Canola from BASF. It's not just the patented pod shatter reduction and clubroot resistant hybrids. It's the performance you trust to deliver year after year. This season, we're adding 3 new early maturing hybrids that are designed for your fields. So get ready to test the limits of your bins. See your retailer today and find out why Invigor has the top 3 hybrids in Alberta.
At Fountain Tire, we love jingles. Get up to 25% off select tires.
Until October 19th.
Plus a bonus $50 off any service of $150.
Restrictions apply.
Book online today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together.
A delicious new deal is at Tim's. $3 for a classic breakfast sandwich when you buy any size hot or iced coffee. You heard that right. Just $3 for a classic breakfast sandwich with Canada's favorite coffee. Terms apply. See app for details.
It's time for
Oh, 6. Ooh, Cons. Is that Will Smith?
Good call. Yeah.
Wow.
Parents just don't understand.
Jeez, that is going way back in time. Jeez. Long time ago. The teenagers love that song. Parents just don't understand. Oof. Smart. You get your young fans loving it. Come on, mom and dad. You don't know anything. Parents are rolling their eyes later on in life. For anybody out there who has teenagers, eventually, trust me, I remember doing it to my dad. You sit back one day and you're kind of like, remember when mom and dad said that? Seemed that they kind of were on the right path. So I remember actually telling my dad about it. So that's the key. Hopefully your kids one day will just, casually, hey, Dad, you know what, Mom? Parenting is rarely an instant gratification job. It's a long-term play, right? It's a big long-term investment that you hope pays off in the end. So good luck for all those parents who are grinding it out every day. Shout out to you. Shout out to all the parents who are involved, doing their best to give their kids an opportunity for success, which means not handing them everything either. So good luck. Let's get to, it is playalberta.ca, presented the Gregor Show. And remember, it's Tuesday, 27 million. Dave Semenko. If he was your favorite player, maybe you're feeling lucky tonight. Get your tickets at playalberta.ca. And just remember, we have the deal. You know the deal. Good luck. Honor the deal. Let's get to the Spec Report now, brought to you by GS Construction, where, hey, you know what they honor? All their work, because it is top-notch quality, and so are their hiring practices. They are hiring. If you're looking for a great company, good benefits, go to Indeed.com and look up GS Construction. As we welcome to the program, Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet. Spec, how you doing?
Hey, it's September. I'm just about to do your show. I turned the TV on. I got the Caps playing the Bruins just starting off on TV. Man, it's nice to see a hockey game on TV at 5 o'clock, huh?
Oh, yeah. Hey, why not? Why not?
Yeah. Here we go, baby. Just another 6 months of it.
Yeah, well, the preseason ones, I'll be honest, Beck, you were at the preseason games. I'm more so trying to watch individual players and see what they're doing without, looking at the overall outcome. And even when you watch the individuals, you kind of got to watch, like, Struds was talking about it. Sean Brown talked about it yesterday. A guy like Raphael Lavoie, like, with Evander Kane being out, Spec, I wrote it today, that he leaves a huge hole in the lineup in physicality, intimidation, lots of different areas. And I don't really think anyone can take up, especially when you consider how many minutes he played 5-on-5, that, they're going to need some guys. Raphael Lavoie is a big body. Pod Colson has shown he's not afraid to hit. But, man, Raphael Lavoie is going to – because if he doesn't come out here in these preseason games and muck it up or do something, then, to me, he's kind of missing the memo.
Yeah, he's in a funny spot because the stuff he does best, this team doesn't need. Right? They got a guy that one-times it on the power play, and he's one of the better one-timers of a puck, in the whole Oilers organization. He can take a puck that's not a great feed that's in his feet and get it on net and get it on net hard. So he's really good at that. But you know what? That's not what they need. Like, the Oilers have a bunch of guys who score and shoot pucks. So, I mean, are you telling me that he can just flip a switch and become a physical player? Can he? He's not fast enough to get in on the forecheck, really. I'm not sure that I hear what you're saying. If he wants to make the team, that would help him. But are you not asking a cat to become a dog here just to try to make this hockey team?
No, because I watched him and now we're not asking him to suddenly run around and, lead the league in hits. Right. But just, you know what? You got to be more engaged than, I get it's important. You want to get pucks off the wall, and I get all that. Right. But get in it. Sean Brown described this, Strut. You go to the net, Spec, right? The D-man's trying to box you out. Don't just accept that he gets you stopped in the box out. Spin off of him, get to the net, put a little stick in front of the goalie. Like, just some effort and different things. That's, to me, that's showing you. Like, look at Clattenburg last night. Now, we all know he's not close to making the team, but he was involved. You noticed him, right? Like, you noticed him. He was involved. He's trying to get in a fight. He's doing lots of different things. Like, there's ways to get noticed if you want to get noticed, Spec. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, younger bottom six players have to have that jam, right? Older bottom six guys tend to become smart and savvy. I want to say they become like a guy like Janmark. He's a smart, good, efficient player. But he's not in there getting in guys' faces.
But he fought twice last year, Spec. Remember, he went outside his comfort zone.
He did. But, I'm just throwing his name out there. But point is, the Oilers and every team, they love a guy like a Clattenburg. I mean, I think it was Brownie said the other day, it's that Tuesday night game in San Jose where, you need a team to build some momentum, and it can't always be on the shoulders of Draisaitl and McDavid and Bouchard in the power play to build momentum. You need other guys to build momentum. And sure, a guy like Raphael Lavoie, if he could find a way with a good hit. I love Pod Colson's game, the physical part of his game. Let's see where the rest of it goes. But there's also a guy who's shown you he's got the foot speed to get there, and he's got the willingness to knock you over. That's a guy that could help his own cause by playing physical. That is for sure.
Yeah, no, it's totally fair. Is there anybody who caught your eye positively last night?
Positive. I thought that Noah Philp was good. Thought he furnished his wingers with some chances, so that was good. Caught my eye. I mean, they had such a good lineup of guys that really didn't get much done. The veterans all playing their first game. Caught my eye positively. I mean, Lavoie did have, 7 shots on net last night?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty hard to miss that.
Yeah. No, hey, you know what? The thing I noticed from Lavoie last night, Spec, is him and Pod Colson both. We said it yesterday. They're going to play a Draisaitl. They're going to get chances. And they didn't bury their chances, unfortunately for them, but they got chances.
They did. They got open. They got chances. They delivered some chances on net. Absolutely. 7 shots for Lavoie. Pod Colson had a couple of really good chances. I thought Cooley, we should give him some credit. Devin Cooley made.
Oh, yes.
It wasn't like he had an easy night. The Oilers, they ended up with 3, but he made 3 or 4 excellent saves. So, you know what? It's preseason. It's like I was saying to Kev, it's like women's tennis. The Oilers lost 6-1, 6-3 last night.
Yeah, it was kind of fascinating. Yeah, Cooley did play very well. Edmonton had a lot of chances.
He did.
Give him credit. They couldn't score.
I don't know what happened in Calgary. I didn't see an inch of that game, and I admit to you, I'm not that interested in rewatching a 6-1 preseason loss to see who it was that was worse than the other guys. I'll let that one slide. How about you?
Wow, you know what? I tried to watch a bit of it at intermission of the game, and it's hard. And I try not to make too much of an assessment on a preseason game. For some guys, a first preseason game, it doesn't look good. Obviously, you don't want to lose 6-1, especially when they were up 1-0. That's not ideal by any stretch of the imagination. We'll see. I look at the orders, and I think it's fair for some people to have a little bit of a concern. You're going to need Emerson, Stetcher, Brown, somebody to here in the next 5 preseason games to look and say, okay, you know what? I'm at least comfortable with the right side, because that's the area. There's not really any other major openings, maybe fourth line center, but that's really the one.
Oh, dude, this isn't a Stanley Cup champion team today. They've got enough now that they could build themselves into one, but this defense is not. I mean, what do they got? They got Ekholm and Bouchard on their top pair. They got Darnell and who knows who on the next pair. And Kulak is a legit, awesome third pairing defenseman. And who's he playing with? I don't even know yet. And is that guy, how good is Josh Brown? I don't know. I guess the barometer here would probably be like Desharnais. Desharnais' play on that third pairing was good enough for the Oilers to win 3 rounds on. Is either of these guys, is Stetcher or Josh Brown or Emerson going to be as good as Desharnais was? I guess we're going to find that out. And I think the other thing, you mentioned they lost Kane's. Kane has pretty good speed, and Kane has. I think he was he not like 6th or 7th in the league in hits last year?
Oh God, yeah.
He was like top 10 in hits.
Yeah.
They lose that. One last thing, Jay. They lose that, and then they lost all that speed from Fogle and McLeod and Holloway. They lost a lot of stuff from last year, and it's not just showing up at the rink and picking up where you left off. Not when you lost all that.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. You know what? Now they've added Skinner and they've added Arvidsson, some pretty good players. I don't mind Podkolzin, but obviously, the Kane one, Kane had more hits, Spec, 5-on-5 than the 6 wingers that are looked as the top 9 wingers combined. Brown, Janmark, Arvidsson, Skinner, Nugent, Hopkins, Hyman combined. So, right, they're going to miss Kane. And he also had 24 goals. He had the 4th most minutes 5-on-5 amongst forwards. He was a big contributor to the team. I know some people are always trying to poke holes and look at things they didn't like. And he did that while playing banged up. So I give him credit. I think the Oilers, I'm curious. They're not going to be derailed without Evander Kane. I'm not saying he's not McDavid value to their team or Draisaitl or Boucher. That's not what I'm saying. But he brings an element in many occasions that they just don't have. And I'm curious if they have others who are going to be able to. Different guys step up and fill different ones. I think Skinner can fill the goals. That I'm not worried about. But what about the other stuff?
Yeah, they don't have the guy to fill the other stuff, right? I don't see him. Do you? I'm sorry, Lavoie's not going to turn into a guy that's a top 10 hitter in the league. Sorry, he doesn't skate well enough to be that guy. The best hitters are good skaters because they get there on time. So yes, sure. Skinner, Arvidsson's Arvidsson's a really good player. And he's hard to play against in a different way. He's not a big hitter, but he's very difficult. He plays inside. What did McCarthy say? Plays inside your pads. He's just a hard player to play against. We all saw that in the 3. Well, he only played in 2 of the playoff series, but excellent player. So yeah, Skinner and Arvidsson make you better. But neither of those guys are bringing the foot speed that you lost with Fogle and McLeod and Holloway. Those are 3 fast guys. And that's, people. I can think of a few games the Oilers won because they played a slow team and they just couldn't keep up. I'm not sure they'll have that many opponents like that this year.
All right. Lastly, Spec, what do you make of the Elks decision?
I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. What about you?
Oh, yeah, I'm struggling the only way it's the right decision. And even then, I'm not sure it is if they make the playoffs. That's the only way you can salvage this to be the right decision.
Well, what? So let's say MBT comes in and wins a game, then what? You just ride this guy to the playoffs? Well, they're not better if he's playing.
Well, that's they have to, right? It make no sense to start him in that game and then go back to trade. Well,
right.
So to me, that the only way that this decision doesn't end up being the wrong decision. And even if they beat Winnipeg, it's not the right decision if they don't make the playoffs. They have to make the playoffs.
I guess if this guy rides in and carries you to the playoffs, it's hard to argue. I don't think that the Elks are a right now team. Like, if not this year, to give Trey Ford some snaps and let him learn some lessons and come back to him and show confidence in him and let him solve the problem that is the Bombers' defense, right? If not this year, now you just kick the can down the road. You know, are you gonna sacrifice games next year then? Well, he tries to learn how to be a quarterback. Like, my point is, you got a young quarterback. You're going to lose some games while he gets experience. That's football, man. That's really, it's any sport, but certainly as a quarterback position. You want Trey Ford to get good. It's not a straight line to get there. So if you're going to sacrifice his experience and his development this season, then you just got to give up games next season when he's learning the hard knocks. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Dude, that's the part I don't understand at all. People are saying, well, I like the MBT start, but he's not the future. Well, then why is he starting? Like, if you think that making the playoffs is that important, then that's the only argument you can go with. And that's fine. But there's a lot of statistical data that will say that MBT doesn't give you a clear, better chance of winning the game than Trey Ford. Trey Ford played great in 2 games and struggled against the best defense in the league. And people and comparing his numbers there, we'll see. Now, hey, if Bethel Thompson goes out and plays great and moves the ball and everyone's like, wow, look at him, he's great. Sure. Okay. But I got to see it to believe it. 2 of his last 3 starts have been meh for my eyes.
Yeah. And I'm still you got to pick a guy. If Ford's not, if maybe Jarius Jackson doesn't think Ford's his guy for the future, but if he does think he's his guy for the future, then what are we pulling the plug on his development? Losing to the best defense is part of your development, right? You don't get to just develop and win, you know? And the last thing I'll say is, what are we doing here? Like, they're not getting a home playoff gate, even if they make the playoffs, are they? You think they're going to get second place in the West? So what are you doing? You're giving up on the development of a young quarterback so you can go into BC or Winnipeg and probably lose. But, you know, it's not like in hockey where you go, hey, man, the owner wants some gates. We got to make the playoffs. There's no gates here for the Elks. So you tell me what the hell they're doing. I'm not sure they know.
Yeah. Spec, I agree. Have yourself a fun Tuesday, Spec. It's a beautiful day out, man. Enjoy. This is unreal.
Barbecue bike tonight.
Barbecue, bike rides. Oh, yeah, it's great. Have a good one.
All right, man.
There you go. That's the Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. When we return, Derek Van Diest will join us and more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Ain't it beautiful? There's electricity in the air. Carrie Dahl here from Volvo of Edmonton, where the Volvo XC40 and C40 fully electric vehicle is now in stock, along with a great selection of Volvo T8 hybrid models. Experience the trusted Volvo quality and technology to power into tomorrow at Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winners. Experience the difference.
Volvo of Edmonton.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your supplier of maximum comfort, bringing you the cool AC you need. You just have to call Legacy. Call Legacy. For comfort at night when the hot air suffocates you. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. For comfort in your wallet with no payments or interest for 1 year. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. You deserve comfort. Cool off today with AC from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients. Better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients. Better pizza. Papa John's. That's SPORTS20.
Rule number 12, not spending the afternoon tubing on the Pembina. Next, you're going to tell us you don't wear flannel. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules, and if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days, because we all know they won't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
A delicious new deal is at Tim's. $3 for a classic breakfast sandwich when you buy any size hot or iced coffee. You heard that right. Just $3 for a classic breakfast sandwich with Canada's favorite coffee. Terms apply. See app for details.
It's time for Tim's.
Cons, we got some great answers. We had asked it earlier. Cons had a question in 5 question that said, what kind of real life story would you want made, into a movie? Right? He was talking about The Social Network because it premiered 14 years ago today. And some of the texts, hey guys, what about the Strudwick Kendra story from Playbook Vic? Oh, yeah. Well, the great part about the story is, Vic, you had what happened, and then you could add in the conversation many years later, right? That would be great. Do some research. Struddy was certain that she would have researched his career. She didn't. A few other ones coming in at 833-401-1440 in our UL inbox. Hey, guys, what about the storytelling Scalbania and Peter Pocklington and how the trade came to be? Ooh. For Oilers fans, I could see why they'd like that one from Day One Dave. I like it. Hey, guys, I'd love to see the Vegas expansion draft. They talk to all the GMs, and they all have to be honest. Oh. Because, yeah, you look back at some of those moves that were made, and you were just like, what? What are they doing? Like the Marchessault one from Florida. Oh. Worked out very well for Vegas. I like that one, Morgan. That'd be pretty good, too. Nice. Hey, guys, I just want to know about the Making of Sports 1440 from Jordan. Well, that might be a short film, but yeah, I'd give you an unfettered access. I could tell you all how it went down. So, and there's not a lot. Well, I think people would be interested in some of, we could probably talk about it one day. Maybe when I'm done, some of the people you contacted and the directions we were going. I would like to relive the attempt at the saboteur. That would be great. So yeah, it would be. We could do that for sure. Not sure how long it'd be. It might be like a short film, possibly. I don't think it could. Well, you know what? In honor of Connor Halley, it definitely wouldn't be 90 minutes long. Right? It'd probably be shorter for sure. So the con man would actually watch it.
Get in, get out.
Yeah. Story of Connor Halley.
That's it.
Let's go. Let's get to the oil report brought to you by Volvo Cars Edmonton.com. Ooh, could tell a great success story there. 13-time Excellence Award winner in service and in sales. Why? They got great vehicles, sure, but it's with their service that puts them at top and how they treat you after you've purchased it. Maintenance, everything else. It is top notch at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. As we welcome in Derek Van Diest from NHL.com. DVD, any true life story? I had mentioned I would like to do the behind the scenes of what made Canada Soccer and the women's program, whoever decided on the drones. I would like to know that. I want to uncover who was behind that. Do you have a story in sports or in life that you would like to see come to life on the big screen?
Oh, like behind the scenes story. Yeah. Well, I can tell you who's behind the drones. His name starts with a John and ends with a Herdman. He's the guy that brought the drones to Canada Soccer. So once the investigation comes in, I'm sure that that'll come into a story that I'd like to see into. That's a good. That's a good question. Yeah, you know what? Actually, I'm looking forward to is obviously after yesterday, getting a sneak peek at that Amazon trailer showing Connor McDavid yelling at his teammates. I think that's something that I'm looking forward to seeing. That the series of following getting unfettered access into the locker rooms. I think that'll be fun to see. I think that series will be fun to see when it comes out. And it looks like it's going to shed a little different light on Connor McDavid and maybe kind of reveal a little bit more of what he's like when we're not around. He's obviously, when we're there, he's on his best behavior. He's really good to deal with. He's great with us. But kind of behind the scenes, and everyone talks how he's a little different in front of us than he is behind the scenes with his roommates. He's a little less guarded than he is with us. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that series when it comes out. I think it comes out first week of October. So
yeah, October 4th. Yeah, there's a 6-part series to that. It might be painful, but I know Oilers fans, they're going to want to watch it, as they should. You get some unfettered access, number one. Number two, you're going to get more of an insight into the human side, which is sometimes you forget, athletes are still human. And I think that'll be a good reminder. So I'm sure that's, and honestly, Connor McDavid's the biggest name in the game. I think fans of other teams are going to be watching that.
Well, there's a reason the Oilers are on, I think they have 17 games on American national television this year. So, there's a reason, and everyone knows Connor McDavid. And I think you're going to get a new appreciation of what this means to him to try and win the Stanley Cup and how hard he works to get there. And, I think it's going to, there's obviously different levels of access. We have a level of access that fans don't have. And then this one goes even deeper than the level of access that we have. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing it.
Last night it was announced Evander Kane, minimum, and recovery from the procedure is expected to take a minimum of 5 to 6 months. Minimum. His rehabilitation will take place in Edmonton under the supervision of the club's medical staff. And so if I do the math, 5 months is February 23rd. 6 months is March 23rd, DVD. And a lot of people are like, oh, he'll be out for the whole regular season, put him on LTIR. This is great, yada, yada, yada. Okay, and I understand the theory behind it. What about the practicality of, if that's the case, the regular season, when it ends and the playoffs begin, will be closing in on 10 and a half months since Kane will have played a game. How effective can he be?
Well, that's the thing, especially since he's a guy that, he's a physical guy and he needs to be up to speed. And I think that was maybe one of the issues last year, that he was kind of hurting and he couldn't be as effective as he was in playoffs before. He's a playoff performer. He's a guy that steps up his game in the playoffs. He's a guy that the Oilers need. They rely on in the playoffs. They relied on him last season. So he's a guy that you want kind of at 100% in the playoffs. And it's interesting because you can't just jump in. You can't miss the whole season, jump into the playoffs and be effective. It doesn't happen, especially if you're a player like that. So I think you would want to come in, and if it's March, maybe get him into the last few weeks of the season if you could. But he's not going to be the same player, especially if he has all that surgery, abdominal surgery and things like that, because he can't do anything. Now he's not going to be able to do anything for the next little while in the rehab, and then you'll start getting on the bike or in the pool or whatever. So I think there's obviously a recovery process and then there's a rehab process, and it's going to be tough. And if he is able to come back and jump into the lineup and help the Oilers in the playoffs, I don't think he's going to be the same player. He's getting up a little older now. The body doesn't recover as fast. So it's an interesting situation with him going in surgery, and now basically he's lost the entire regular season. And we'll see how much time he gets before the playoffs start, because I think if he gets to a point where he just comes in to play in the playoffs, or if he's ready for the playoffs, I don't know how effective it will be, because basically he's got to get back in shape. He's got to get back in game shape. And he's, when you're gone for that long, it's really hard to just jump in, especially with the intensity that they'll be playing hockey in March, in April, in May, in June. So that'll be tough for him, I think.
Derek Van Diest joins us on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. Here's the one interesting caveat that if you look in the rule book for LTIR, so let's say, Kane, you get to April 5th, DVD. And now Kane, he's been training. Things are good. They can keep him on LTIR, not on the roster. They did it in Calgary with Shillington last year. You can go down to the minors and play 3 games. And then you can actually ask for an extension, and he could end up playing 2 more games in the American League. And none of it, and he wouldn't. And then all of a sudden the regular season's over. He's played 5 AHL games, potentially as a max, and then could come up and never count on the salary cap. So it's something that now I was talking to people that say, you know what, they have to approve it. Now, Kane being out as long as he would, it would be hard to argue why not that he wouldn't need a conditioning stint, right? Like Shillington had. And so he doesn't count. Because usually if you're on a conditioning stint, you count on the roster, right? You're on the roster, they send you down. So a team, you just count. But for coming off a lengthy LTIR, it is in the rule book that they could do that. Could you imagine if indeed that happens? And it's all legal, all within the rules. Now, I wonder if Oilers fans would be okay with that after hating when Vegas supposedly did the same with Mark Stone.
Well, Vegas did the same. Tampa did the same. The rules haven't been changed. If they're there and you get a chance to use them, you use them. I wouldn't begrudge the teams doing that. I think the thing with Vegas is they seem to have done it more than once and seem almost taking advantage of that. But I think if the rules are there, then you use them. But I think I did recall Stan Bowman said they're not going to put them on LTIR until they have to.
Until you have to. But the point is, if you ever did it at any point in the season, right? Like, I think if they get to the deadline and he's not close, they're going to put him on LTIR to try to maximize then when you can add the money. It doesn't do you a big benefit now. They'd like to accrue space, and they don't really have anybody to add to take advantage of that. That's why you wouldn't do it now.
No, it's true. It's true. Yeah, it'd be interesting. But hey, you know what? It worked for Tampa, it worked for Vegas. Maybe that's the key. Maybe, doing something like that would work for Edmonton because you need all hands on deck in the playoffs. And if you can get a guy like Kane, even if he's not at 100%, if you can get him to kind of help you in that playoff drive, I think Oilers fans would be happy with that.
Derek Van Diest joins us. Stu Skinner, according to his head coach, says there's a good chance, so he didn't confirm it 100%, but says there's a good chance you might see Stu Skinner's preseason debut tomorrow in Winnipeg, against Jets, where usually you play more of your regulars at home. An opportunity for Stuart Skinner to maybe see some better quality shots. Now, some of them might be, depending on which blue liners they send. And, Brett Kulak didn't play in either the games yesterday, so he might be going. I don't think Kulak's played yet. Brown, Janmark, I know they're going for sure. So, what do you make of that? Is this a smart decision to say, hey, Stu, if we're going to play you, let's just get you in where you're going to see some shots right away. We don't care about the outcome. I don't care if a few go by you, but you're going to see more NHL quality shots.
Yeah, I think it's not a bad decision because you're right. The veterans usually don't like to travel in the preseason, like to stay at home, and so you usually travel a younger team in the preseason on the road. So if you're going to anticipate you're going to get a lot of shots and you're going to have a younger lineup, and your opponent's probably going to have a more veteran lineup because they want to start getting some of their veterans in. They haven't played a lot of veterans in their first 2 games. So, you're going to get some work. And, Stu Skinner sees that as well. And he's like, maybe this is an opportunity to kind of jump in and get some work and get a good feel for the puck. It's been a long time for him since he's played. If you want him to see where he's at and if he wants to kind of jump in with both feet, then that's a good opportunity for him to go in there. And he's going to see, maybe Scheifele and Connor and some of those high-end guys that the Winnipeg has. And I think it'll be good for him if he feels that's the best for him to kind of go in there and start seeing some high quality shots right away. I think that'd be a good thing. But I do think that as the starting goalie, he does have a lot of input of when he wants to play, who he wants to play, what he thinks is best. And I think that's the thing right now with a lot of these veterans, the Oilers veterans, they're saying, okay, I need 3 games, I need 3 games, I need 2 games, whatever games they decide to need. I think there's a lot of back and forth between them and Chris Knobloch and the coaching staff as to what kind of lineup they're going to ice. So I think a lot of it depends on Stu Skinner, where he believes, I think this would be a good way to start to jump back into the season, to go out there and get some high-end quality shots on me.
Derek Van Diest joins us. DVD, maybe the most exciting part of Sunday's preseason game, for me anyway, which was, of course, Sunday afternoon, was sitting beside a diehard Dallas Cowboy fan, watching and listening to him agonize over another Cowboys loss for your team.
It's so painful, the bad decisions Mike McCarthy makes. And it's just, I'm screaming at the TV, don't go for 2, kick the 1. Don't go for 2, kick the 1. You go for the 2 points. I'm old school. There were some rules that you went by old school. And the old school rule was don't go for 2-point conversion until you absolutely need it. Don't go chasing that because those points will end up costing you in the end, and they ended up costing the Cowboys in the end. So I know there's new analytics now that look at when you should go for 2, when you should not go for 2. But if you look at the situation, if Cowboys kick those 2 extra points, then they're down by 1 score. They're down by 8, and then they get the touchdown. Then you go for the 2 to tie the game, but you miss those 2 extra points. So then you're not, you're down by 10 as opposed to 8. So you need 2 scores. So it's just little decisions like that really infuriate me when it comes to Mike McCarthy, not figuring that out, not seeing that far ahead. And it's just, to me, he's just cost this team too many football games by making some bad decisions at tight times. And I'm just not a fan of his at all when it comes to situations like that. They were down 28-6. They had no business being in that football game, but they came back, made it interesting, and then dropped the ball at the end because to me, that was 2 bad decisions going for the 2-point conversions on those 2 late touchdowns.
What do you make of the Ford Bethel Thompson?
That I don't like at all. Listen, Bethel Thompson has not impressed me at all this season. He came in. I was at the game on Friday night. He came in or Saturday. He came in, didn't do much. And I'm like, okay, well, I thought Ford was hurt. You got to go with this guy. You got to give him an opportunity to play. You got to give him an opportunity to go through some adversity. Like that's how you really know the character of a player. If you can kind of play through adversity and play through mistakes and you throw an interception, you get pulled. I've been in that situation, and it's demoralizing. Then you're afraid to make a mistake. You're second guessing yourself. You're afraid to make reads because you're essentially playing, looking over your shoulder, going, "Oh, am I going to get pulled for this mistake? Am I going to pull for this?" Let him play. He's your guy. If he's going to be your guy in the future, let him play. Let him figure it out. He was coming off, I think, a 5-week hiatus where he hadn't played. Of course, he was going to be a little rusty. Let him get through that. I don't know. I don't like the decision. No one likes the decision. And to be honest, I do think there's going to be a new coaching staff here next year. Maybe they're looking at it that way. I don't know, trying to save their jobs by trying to win some games. But I don't like the decision at all. I think he's your guy. You made him your starter when you were 0-7, and he helped turn your season around. And now you're kind of abandoning him again. So I don't like that decision at all.
DVD, great stuff, my man. We will see you at the rink tomorrow. Have a great day.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me on.
That's Derek Van Diest from NHL.com. Covers the Oilers and the Flames and the Jets and the Canucks. Huge soccer guy, too. Football at all the games as well. Big sports guy overall. I'll take a quick break. We got lots and lots of texts to get to. Some of the beauty ones. We'll get to those. 833-401-1440 in our email inbox. It is the Jason Gregor Show with Connor Halley, presented by our title sponsor, PlayAlberta.ca.
In 100 meters, turn right. Actually, no. Turn left. There's some awesome new breakfast wraps at McDonald's.
Really?
Yeah. There's the sausage, bacon, and egg, a crispy seasoned chicken one. A spicy and egg, worth the detour.
They sound amazing.
Bet they taste amazing, too. Wish I had a mouth. Take your morning into a delicious new direction with McDonald's new breakfast wraps. Add a small premium roast coffee for $1 plus tax. At participating McDonald's restaurants. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your supplier of maximum comfort, bringing you the cool AC you need. You just have to call Legacy. Call Legacy. For comfort at night when the hot air suffocates you. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. For comfort in your wallet with no payments or interest for 1 year. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. You deserve comfort. Cool off today with AC from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Imagine hitting 13 out of 14 fairways from the tee. It can happen. It does happen with a driver created for you by Fitted Golf. We are the only company in Edmonton who fits for all 9 features of each golf club. Amateurs learn to play like amateurs from amateurs. Come work with our professional team of scientists, engineers, and club builders and get fitted with the clubs designed for one golfer. You visit fittedgolf.ca today. Fitted Golf, where we continue to prove it's your clubs.
Edmonton's premium live music and party venue is On the Rocks. Check out Bingo Tunes on Monday. Perform on the best stage in town with karaoke on Wednesdays. Learn how to salsa with Salsa Rocks on Thursdays. And every weekend, OTR goes live.
With your favorite bands on the OTR stage and DJ Kenny K.
For everything that's going on at On the Rocks, give us a follow.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
At On the Rocks, ED
p.m.
Eat well, party hard.
On the rocks.
On the rocks.
On the rocks. Open every day till 2 a.m.
The Canada-wide clearance is on at GMC. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on the 2024 Sierra 1500 Elevation. With Sierra's 13.4-inch diagonal premium GMC infotainment system with Google built-in compatibility, available off-road package with hill descent control, plus an available 3-liter Duramax diesel engine, you can take the road less traveled and try new things, like fishing or whitewater rafting. I should have gone fishing. Ask your GMC dealer for details.
They say at any given moment, only 7% of people are looking for a car, and that 7% notices advertising for cars. Everyone else, 93%, doesn't even hear it. So this ad is just for the 93% who aren't going to really notice any car ads right now anyway. Hey, it's Scott here from Sherwood and St. Albert Dodge. And I hope you, yes, you, the person listening right now, I hope you have a great day. Anyway, that's it. I'm done.
As a farmer, you can't afford to take any more risks than you already do. That's why you choose Invigor Hybrid Canola from BASF. It's not just the patented pod shatter reduction and clubroot resistant hybrids. It's the performance you trust to deliver year after year. This season, we're adding 3 new early maturing hybrids that are designed for your fields. So get ready to test the limits of your bins. See your retailer today and find out why Invigor has the top 3 hybrids in Alberta.
At Fountain Tire, we love jingles. Get up to 25% off select tires.
Until October 19th.
Plus a bonus $50 off any service of $150.
Restrictions apply.
Book online today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together. $5:45. Turn on another busy Tuesday. Tomorrow for Who Is It Wednesday. Now, our whole goal on Who Is It Wednesday is we get different people from the sporting world, managers, players, but also, for different opportunities for people like you. Many of you are diehard sports fans, and you're like, how can I get in? We've had broadcasters, some people who do play-by-play. How do you get into that? Right? We've done analysts, we've done trainers, athletic therapists, run the equipment managers, kind of run the gamut. So tomorrow we have another guest who has been in the industry for the sports industry for 20 plus years, probably 25, has been to multiple Stanley Cup finals, Super Bowls, Olympics, and we'll have some unbelievable, when you're a sports fan, like many of you are, and you think about what's a job opportunity that you can get in. Right now, some people try coaching, you want to go into management. Now you can get into analytics. We've got a few of those guests coming up in the future, which is great. But tomorrow's one where I think if you want to get a real opportunity to see a lot of sports, a lot of big sports, you'll find out that role. And also it's somebody who is going to give us some good stories on a few of the big names in the sporting world that you're aware of. So that's coming up tomorrow on the show. Very much looking forward to that. Cons, I think I just told you who our guest is, did I not? I always try to keep it, even from Cons, we try to keep it as quiet as possible.
I usually don't find out till moments before, but you did tell me. I had to confirm because Brad's tracking down another guest. We didn't want to overlap, but I am very intrigued by this one. I think we're going to get some good stories.
Yeah. I think there should be some great stories, and it's just it's another avenue for people to think about to get you involved in sports, which is
I think for some people, not everybody wants the job in sports. I totally understand it, but there's a lot of people that are kind of intrigued by it. And, there's different skill sets that you need. There's athletics. Obviously, you can be an athlete, right? Maybe you can be really good with science and numbers and, physical training and lots of different things, go to take schooling, kinesiology, right? Like there's lots of different venues. So opportunities. So I like that. We'll get to that. Hey guys, King can get up to speed slapping around the Kings in the first round again from Team Dean. Hey guys, the Normie Kwong story from Brian. Ooh, that'd be a good one. And had a hell of a career, right? And kind of a little backstory on that one. You would obviously you'd have to talk to kids and family and friends now about Normie, but hey, that would be good. Hey guys, what do you do if you have two QBs, one grade 10 and one grade 12? Who plays if they're fairly equal? From Coach Doug. Well, are you talking on the senior team? Well, that's a little bit different, right? Because the grade 12 guy probably paid his dues, and that he can't be there next year. It's always a little bit different, right? In it now, the other thing is if you're down to the final few games of the season and your team is going nowhere, I would probably want to get in some snaps to my grade 10 goal. And if my grade 10 guy had shown very well, then I'd probably consider playing him. Yes, I would. Like DVD said, like I haven't seen this. I think it's somewhat of a people. Now everybody has a bias, right? So they're going to say some people like the excitement trade forward brings, valid. And others like, yeah, well, Bethel Thompson looks more like the, quote, prototype quarterback. Maybe. But if I look at the bigger picture, I don't care how it gets done, who's getting a better job done? Right? There's very few numbers that suggest Bethel Thompson is clearly getting the job done better. A lot of the Trey Ford stuff has come out because they lost one game to Winnipeg. There was no talk that Trey Ford was playing poorly in his previous starts. None. He was playing great. Look at the numbers. He was 6 for 6 for 96 yards against BC. They were rolling. He got injured. BC's a pretty good team. Right? He was great against Saskatchewan. No one was talking about it. So he has one bad game and suddenly, he doesn't know how to move the ball. What? He looked confused against a veteran team who's the best defense in the league. To me, that's not a big surprise that a young quarterback who has fewer than, how many pro starts does Trey Ford have now? 15? 15. I think it might be a tad too early to just, He saw a defense that maybe confused him. We've seen veterans get confused at times over defenses. It happens. So yeah, I'm in the camp that the Elks have been going nowhere for a long time. And I don't get too caught up in a little stretch where they won 5 of 7. Hey, I'd love to see him win. I want the fans to see their team win. Don't get me wrong. But long term, I don't think this is the best decision. Like I said, the only way this looks like a right decision is if they make the playoffs. And even then, they're risking. What if they make the playoffs and lose Trey Ford? Is it the right decision? That's what they'll have to ask themselves. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, thanks so much, everybody, for listening, watching on Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook and X, Instagram, streaming it live at sports1440.ca and wherever you get your apps. Thank you very much. And, of course, for all of you right here on Sports 1440. Have a great Tuesday evening. 40% off at Papa John's. Get some pizza right now. Now, let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Well, your partner in power. Coming up on 50 years. If you need great electrical gear, there's only one place to go, 24/7, EWEL.ca. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Some news from the Green and Gold today as McLeod Bethel Thompson expected to be the starter when the team takes on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers on Friday. That comes from a report of TSN's Farhan Lalji, and Jeremiah Masoli will start for the Red Blacks on Saturday when they take on the Rough Riders. That was confirmed by head coach Bob Dice. In the NHL, we got preseason action. The following games are at the first intermission. Sabres lead the Penguins 2-1. Devils, Canadians, Rangers, Islanders both scoreless. Lighting up on the Hurricanes 1-0. Maple Leafs and Sens tied at 1 apiece. And the Capitals trail the Bruins 1-0. Later tonight, Sharks host the Ducks and the Kraken in Vancouver. Major League Baseball, the Toronto Blue Jays are in action. Bottom of the third, hosting the Red Sox. They are currently scoreless. Elsewhere, Orioles up on the Yankees 1-0. Brewers lead the Pirates 4-2. The Reds trail the Guardians 3-1. And the Cubs have a 6-2 lead over the Phillies. That one's in the bottom of the fourth. Angels, White Sox, Marlins, Twins, Braves, Mets, all scoreless. Later tonight, you got the Mariners in Houston. Rockies host the Cards. Giants take on the Diamondbacks, and the Rangers up against the Athletics. It all wraps up as the Dodgers host the Padres. And one final as the Tigers get past the Rays. 2-1 WNBA playoffs. The Dream leading the Liberty 28-19 after one. Alicia Gray leading the way with 14 points. New York beat that series 1-0. And later tonight, the Aces will look to take a 2-0 series lead over the Seattle Storm. That's going to do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Coming up next, we've got Fox Sports Radio all night. Tomorrow morning, Kevin Carey's Brandon Douglas back at 7 a.m. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440.